Good evening. Welcome to the North College Hill Rules and Public Policy Meeting for Monday, March 10th, 2025. The only thing on the agenda today is a comprehensive plan. So I thought I took some, I went on ahead and printed my own copy so that I could, because the one that we had was just kind of crunched together, and I do like paper.
There's a lot of it there then.
Yeah, there is quite a bit. Killed a tree or two. So I was looking, first of all, and Ms. Zorb, I'm going to lean on you a lot here. What's the rush to pass this or approve it or adopt it or whatever it is that we're being asked to do?
My opinion is that there isn't really a lot of work per se for us to do. It's, someone just, sorry, I heard something. It's more council approving the idea of other people having guidance around the decisions that they're making. Because I don't think it's really, to me, it's that 30,000-foot view, and without it, other people might be going in a different path.
I see.
And I think
this
it's more of a focusing kind of thing.
Chief
That's my
Cheney,
opinion.
can you check to see what's going on there, please?
It's on the phone.
So it's not that we are necessarily even agreeing that we're going to put all these extra curbs on Simpson Avenue or a stop sign at every corner or whatever. It's just kind of a guidance.
Exactly. It's exactly what it is. It's almost like the bumpers when you're remember the bumper cars at Kings Island?
Right.
It's those bumpers that make you stay kind of on the path, but you can still wobble from side to side a little bit.
Are you starting? I'm sorry.
Yes.
I think you guys.
So I just, I don't know,
Madam
I
Chair.
mean, sure, Mr. Wilson.
So, when it comes to the comprehensive plans, I've been reading it, and I've been into a couple of meetings and stuff that we needed to, our presence needed to be in. One of them meetings was the OKI meeting. And in that meeting, speaking to a couple of individuals down there when it comes to some of the fundings that they had for the local areas, a lot of them asked questions as far as our comprehensive plan. I did provide it to them and let them know we haven't adopted it yet, but I believe that they've been just needing some type of ideal, of what North College Hill maybe is directed or looking to go into the direction of. So that's pretty much why I think that they want us to review this comprehensive plan and adopt it, is to help give them some type of, focal point as far as where to start as far as moving us towards the future.
So my next question would be, obviously, zoning. We need to do a lot with our zoning code. Like, it needs to be probably just rewritten from scratch. Like, so do we do that before or after?
So I can't think. Miss Brooks, sorry, her name, I couldn't think of her name. Miss Brooks is working with a gentleman from Hamilton County that will basically rewrite all of our codes, and they'll do it for free because they're doing that with other cities within Hamilton County. And I know she's on his list, but she just isn't sure where we are on the list. And especially since they're doing it for free, and it will like bring us more current. So it'll address like Airbnbs, it'll address food trucks, it will, and all of the antiquated items that we have out there will be cleaned up and removed. And I believe we even have a lot of contradicting, I know for a fact, we have contradicting laws out on our books. And
Right.
this will help clean that up.
Yeah, I was just, I don't know, because I was looking at the proposed land use section specifically, and there are some really good ideas in there, but I'm just wondering if it's already zoned properly or not, and if not, what, again, we adopt the comprehensive plan, so I just kind of feel like because everybody's just kind of, if you really want me to do something, don't come and tell me it's an emergency, because then that just gets my spidey sense tingling, and I'm like, why are you rushing me? Like, what is in it for you? Not to say that's happening, but I'm just kind of like, what,
Madam Chair.
yes.
I do believe the planning commission did ask that if we can have some of the zoning codes and stuff be reviewed and stuff before. Like they wanted, I believe, if my memory serves me correctly.
No, they want us
Madam
to
Chair.
pass this like Monday.
No,
So it is a culmination of both those two things. One of the primary things on that list of 12, they moved up to the top were the zoning codes, specifically the one about not building anything under 1,500 square feet. So they want to prioritize that one above some of the others. What you're talking about is like an overhaul on our all over
Right.
budget and code. Building and code.
zoning.
And I talked to Ms. Brooks about the Hamilton County, going through Hamilton County, but then, which I'm not against, or not that you need my approval or disapproval, but I think that's a good thing is what I'm saying. But I also know that we need to, even once we get that document, make it specific, because we're not as big. It's kind of a generalization. There are things like where there are businesses coexisting in residential areas that we already have existing. We have clauses in our current building and code zoning regulations to let those grandfather out. So when those businesses move, like for example, those bars in that residential area, when they move out of there, no other bar can move back in there. So we would have to specify those types of things that we've made unique to our charter to make sure that the intent behind what we have done that is good stays in the document. They wouldn't be able to dig into those specifics. So maybe we can take their general suggestions and then add in where our specific suggestions are and kind of combine and then push something forward. Now to
Madam Chair.
your question about do they want us to should we do the building and code zoning first before the comprehensive plan, or do you guys want to kind of isolate the few things that they highlighted, put that in within the comprehensive plan and pass that at one time is kind of where your question would be.
Okay, you didn't hear my original question, but I'll circle back. Yes, Ms. Zorb.
So I got a couple of things now. So I've talked to Ms. Brooks at length about the code. I'll call it the code rewrite, and that team of people will work specifically with us to make sure that it is specific to us, and they will. It's not a forklift where they're going to just take everything out, put a new one in. It's very specific to our needs. And then, crap. Oh, those recommendations. Those recommendations are more to. I don't know if I should say this on camera. This is more of an executive session comment, so I will keep that comment to myself. Sorry.
So my original question, Ms. Dukestein, was, what's the rush? Like, why do we need to pass it Monday? I mean, if it's a plan and it's a blueprint and it's something that takes place over the course of the next 10 years, I mean, because like one of the things that this talks about is this street, Goodman Avenue, like, and I think that's a good point, but you know, that's longer than a 5-minute conversation, right? Do we block off Goodman Avenue? Do we limit, you know, there's no through traffic, make it a parking lot, put more, you know, build it out to where the only thing you can do is drive in there to go through the businesses. It's no longer a cut through. I mean, I think that that's a very good point. It's one of, but there's a lot of things like that in there. So if we're adopting this, are we sanctioning whatever is in here about Goodman Avenue? Because, you know, I mean, I don't know. What do you guys think about that?
So the other thing that I want to point out is the majority of the things in the comprehensive plan cost money. So they have to come back to us for approval anyhow. So that's when we would make the decision of whether we wanted Goodman to be closed down or not, or if we wanted skyscrapers in North College Hill or not. That would be when we'd have the zoning kind of conversation. But honestly, that would even go through the BZA before it went through us, and we could go to a public hearing for the BZA, which I just got a notice that something wants to come into my neighborhood. So I'll be at the BZA meeting next week. But, and then your other point of why is this an emergency? It's not an emergency. We've had this for almost a year now. Council's had this for almost a year.
Madam Chair, so the first originated email for all of council at large to have received this document was November the 1st, and I was able to verify that with the Planning Commission at our last meeting last Wednesday. So when you guys got it as a group, it was November the 1st of 2024. And so I explained to them that that is also entering into a time where we were doing the budget, we were doing the salary ordinance. There were so many things. It's holiday season, and that may not have made it very easily read during that time because there was just so much to take care of. There were lots of extra meetings. Whilst I think if you guys decide to approve it sooner than later, one of the things that I suggested to the Planning Commission is that you put in there a clause about not being stuck to the items that are in there. It is it's supposed to be designed as a fluid document that can change with time. Some things that are in there aren't even for sale or that are available to us right at this moment. So I think that just needs to be denoted on behalf of you all as a council body. The reason that I suggest that to you is because sometimes when you pass legislation, ordinances, the intent gets lost 5 years down the line, and people are looking back like, why didn't this council body follow this to a T, or this say execute this out, make administration execute this plan, when there were restrictions with money or reasons behind the choices of why that legislation didn't find its way executed. And so to put something in there to kind of denote this is a fluid document and can change at any time, especially in consideration, like Ms. Zorb said, to financial wellness and the things that we are feasibly able to do. It gives more flexibility and a latitude to the state of the city as we go forward. Things that are not available. That is if you choose to do it sooner than later. But that part is up to you all.
I guess for me, and again, you know how I am. One of the things I don't like that we do is we hash things over and over and over again instead of making an up or down decision, like say yes or say no, and let's move on to the next thing. However, I just feel like, I just feel like we haven't talked it through at all. Like we haven't really talked about, like, you know, I had cause to drive down Galbraith Avenue, like going towards Coleraine Avenue at 5 o'clock the other day.
How many cars passed you in the no passing lane?
At least 6. And they were like flying. And I'm thinking to myself, like, okay, so, you know, the problem is you can't really do completely away with a breakout lane, because what if there's a fire truck or a police car that needs to get through there, especially with our mutual aid that comes through that corridor to try to get to us. But at the same time, we've got, it was like Indy 5000 going fast, like not even, just zoom. And I'm like we were sitting still. We were inching along, but it was just like, and they weren't even trying to go up and turn. They got up to a certain point and then turn signaled and tried to force their way back into the lane. So it was just, I was just like, oh, and
This is up by the golf course.
yes, it was,
He's well aware. He's been told before.
a part of me, I miss our public works director, because, I would have picked up the phone and called him immediately, like, hey, even if we move them, let's just put some speed bumps out there and make somebody's car just go ka-clunk, just a couple of times, so that, you know what I mean? Because I'm just like, I didn't even, like, what was that? So there's a part in here that talks about traffic calming, and, I had talked to him about that, like maybe moving speed bumps around, and that's one of the things North College Hill is known for. Like, you never know where a speed bump is going to show up because we move them around all the time. I love that idea, because I was even over near Ms. Zorb's house, and I won't tell anybody where that is, but I felt like my life was at risk. I was just like, it was like there's no stop sign there at all.
You still have that luxury.
And
You
it's
can
and
call
it's
the
a 90
phone.
degree bend.
I know. I was.
And I think people see how fast they can go in the 90 degree bend.
I
to a
was
stop
like,
sign.
I feel like somebody's gonna end up in somebody's yard or something.
I've already had a car hit my house.
It was absolutely like baffling to me that I was just like, you are taking your life. So for me, that's something we can do almost immediately. But again, these are discussions I'd like to have. I'm not trying to say I don't want to adopt it, but it kind of, when somebody is rushing you to do something, it kind of reminds me of when you first get your first job, and if you work for the public sector and your income is posted online somewhere, then you've got somebody come in and they're like, I know you've got the money. You don't know how much money. You don't know whether I got the money or not, for real, for real. You see that number posted online, so now you're trying to get in my pocketbook and spend my money. And I think that's I'm not saying anybody in particular is trying to do that, but we are in a healthy financial state, but we don't need to be going and just buying random things. We need to have these discussions, because I can remember coming to city council meetings at the end of the year, and I would bring my children with me, and there was barely $100,000 in the bank. And I don't want us to
Go
be
backwards.
there. I want us to move forward. I think that, you know, a lot of the ideas in here are great, but it just, it bears some discussion. And to Ms. Zorb's point, I will just say that I'm not going to say that, because that's probably insensitive. But, you know, sometimes people find workarounds even when they're supposed to come and ask us about money and doing things with money. And you're like, wait, what is that? Did we really need that? I'm not talking about Ms. Duke's team, but she probably knows what I'm talking about, because I was just kind of like, wait, you spent how much money on a what? Like what? So I just...
Madam Chair.
Yes.
So I just did a quick search in my email, and I can tell you that I sent the proposal to Ms. Dukestein in July of '21.
The proposal, because the proposal is a different document.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah. So I mean, my point is, we've been passing this around for a while. This isn't. It's not a rush job.
I know. So the proposal is different from
Yes.
the plan.
Yes,
The
Madam Chair.
proposal. Wait. Hold
Okay.
on. Because I looked at, like, the proposal there was proposals from 3 different companies. Is that what you're talking about?
Yes.
Because I didn't have the actual plan. I did have the proposals, though.
I have a comprehensive plan again in September of '23. It's been sent around quite a few times. We've had this for a while.
Madam Chair,
Yes, ma'am.
it was in 2021 that it circulated through Budget and Finance, where we were trying to decide the different proposals to select the companies. That's the reference that you're talking to. That can be correlated back with the Budget and Finance minutes, which are there. The proposal itself wasn't done, and I'm pretty sure until late 23. I'm not sure when the final document came from Urban Fast Forward, but that document, the process has to be followed intentionally. You can't take a document from one person and pass it through from another. It needs to come from the appropriate people, so that we can make sure that it is in its final state. And when it came from the Planning Commission, Mr. Brooks, he confirmed this, that it was November the 1st, and that was sent out by Andrea Brooks. Before that, it had not been properly circulated to council. Now, the Planning Commission did raise the question as, how come you guys didn't go down to Urban Fast Forward and get it yourselves? That's unprecedented. Those are not
Okay,
the
well,
type of things that we should do. And I did
was just
say
about
that.
to say, we shouldn't.
I did say
we
that.
shouldn't
It
do
needed
that.
to be circulated appropriately. And I get that the document kind of lost some momentum. And I will attribute that to the absence of a city manager for 10 months. I mean, that's huge. And that's, in my opinion, no fault of councils.
I don't, I honestly don't have a problem just sending it to the agenda for an up or down vote. I don't have a problem doing that, because I do think that we tend to drag our feet sometimes on things. But I know this was prepared for us, and it's dated August 2023. I didn't have it in August 2023. So I had the proposals. I saw those proposals, and I looked at them, and I kind of compared them to this. I think that this is, there's some really good things in here. There's some things I kind of question. I just, I don't want it to be like a blank check either.
So, Madam Chair, if I could add, the only thing I have is, and that's fine if you guys want to put it on the council agenda and just let it vote out, that's fine. The only thing that I would say is that you probably need to ask the law director to add something in there about it being a fluid document and it being changeable per the condition or the financial climate of the city. The other thing that I think is if you're looking for a timestamp of when you receive the document, you need to either look for it from Urban Fast Forward, Ms. Eakey, or Mayor Nichols, or even anybody from the Planning Commission. That would be a good starting point if you guys are in a debacle as to when council at large received it, even Christian Hedger.
I'm not really, I'm going to be honest with you guys, I'm not really in a debacle.
Right.
It doesn't matter, whether we had it in August 2023 or August 2024. I mean, at the end of the day, we have it now. But I mean, we haven't talked about it. So that's my conundrum.
Madam Chair?
Interesting word. Yes.
I would agree with you that I would like to see it sent to the council agenda. But I think it would need to go through Mr. Dieter, because we don't have legislation to correlate with it. We just have the plan. So we would need Mr. Dieters to actually write the legislation.
Okay, so how about 3 of us all send Mr. Dieters an email asking him to write us some legislation?
So typically, once it goes through committee, then the committee chair will send it to Dieters and then ask him to create legislation around it. It got stopped with.
And again, I don't have a problem with that, because at least, and again, I just, we can still continue to talk about it and, kind of talk about things. Yeah, so I don't have a problem with that, but I'll send him an email, but I would like for somebody else to send him an email too, because
I can do that.
I don't know. Okay, so it is 6:32, and I'm mindful, and again, we were talking about the comprehensive plan for 30 minutes. Old business, new business, action items. If there's anything, please just feel free to send me an email. No conversations in emails, but just send me an email about it, and Going to follow up with you. And at this time, I'll just adjourn the meeting, the Rules and Public Policy meeting. And I'm going to send Mr. Dieters an email, and Ms. Zorb will send him an email as well. And Ms. Dukestein, if you could send him an email as well, and maybe one of us will get a response. And okay. Thank you. Okay, at this time, welcome to the North College Hill Public Safety Committee meeting. Just running 3 minutes behind there, so I apologize for that. We have on our agenda first, Police Department updates. I did receive a report from Chief Cheney. Thank you very much, Chief Cheney. However, Chief Cheney's here, so we'll give him the microphone.
Hey everybody, sorry. I wasn't planning on being here and then something happened, so I could be here, so that's why I came. So I gave Erica some stats from February, which I generally do for you guys and girls. If you need me to send it to the rest of the council, I can. I just usually send it to the chair and vice chair, Mr. Davis. So for February, wrote 126 citations with 156 violations served. That is up from 67 the year before. Now, Ms. Underwood doesn't like warnings, but we also gave 100 warnings. We have to do our due diligence just to teach people the proper thing to do. So, and that was up from 55. So our officers did a phenomenal job. So if you altogether 226 traffic stops.
Were any of them on Galbraith Road?
Oh yeah, my God, Galbraith, Hamilton, everywhere. I mean, so calls for service 926.
In North College Hill?
Yes, 926 calls for service. So that is a rise. And last year we had a rise of over I forget, 2,000 or 700 and some calls. Well, February we had 139 more than the year before. So the trend is continuing.
Yes. So that's not mutual aid, that's just North College Hill.
That's just North College Hill.
So I know we're interrupting you a little bit.
No, you're
We're
fine.
Just so calls for service. Can you tell us a little bit about what that includes, or what
So
that
it can be
looks like?
anything from a disabled vehicle, neighbor trouble, a theft at Kroger, at one of the other stores, a domestic violence call, robbery. I mean, when we say calls for service, it runs any kind of call that we go on, it is included in that. So except for when we then do our daily activities, which is just an officer self-initiated. So like a vacation check or a business check or, a directed patrol, those are separate. So,
Wow. Okay.
yeah, that's what I say. So on top of that, we also did do 29 mutual aid calls for service for police departments. We either going into Coleraine Township, Mount Healthy, or Springfield Township, and maybe once or twice into the city. Sometimes we get called into College Hill because they have something that they can't get to, especially with District 5 gone. Sometimes their call, they won't get there for 15, 20 minutes, so they ask us. Or if it's I think we did like a mutual aid to them because they had a large fight at Aiken one day. So we went to assist, stuff like that. Traffic accidents, only 2 more than what we had last year, 25, which is actually pretty good since we had a lot of snow at the beginning of the month. So kudos to that. Offense reports, we were down actually 13. So even for all those calls, we only, we made 13 less arrests. So which is kind of good. We were able to hopefully mediate some of those out instead of taking someone to jail. And I did get some numbers back from OSP. Spoke to their lieutenant at the chief's meeting last week. He sent the numbers today. So far this year, just in our town, assisting us, they've wrote 187 tickets. So, and we actually talked about doing a joint traffic blitz in the next month or two, where we would just have people not working their normal shift would come in and like work a step and just do traffic, and their officers would be there and kind of blitz the town. So we can do Galbraith Road, we can do, Hamilton Avenue. But as you can see, when we're so busy and we're still short-staffed, and since the last meeting, we've lost somebody to Loveland, and we're still trying to recoup. I mean, unfortunately, we are struggling to find people. Everybody in the county is. And every single day, there's an agency that pops up that's looking for somebody. We're at the chief's meeting, and Amberley Village is short 5. Now,
Wow.
most of those are because they have some people out on sick leave and stuff. But when a place like Amberley Village is struggling, that shows you what the climate is in today's day and age right now. So we're going to have to get creative on try to get people in. So I'm working on it. We potentially have some laterals that are interested in coming over, which is really ideal for us because it'll be less training that we'd have to put them through. But if we have to put people through the academy, that's what we are going to have to do. But then we know we're probably not going to be able to really utilize them for a year. So the struggle is real right now, fortunately.
And what's going on with the generator situation?
We're still working on that. Slow process. There's been, unfortunately, not trying to make excuses, but with us being short-staffed, it also is making myself and Lieutenant Engelbert, we're doing the job of 4 supervisors, just the 2 of us. So finalizing grants that I just finalized, working on that, plus trying to build a promotional exam. We're eliminating 1 lieutenant spot, cutting that into 2 sergeants so we can have more supervision. And one of the things, hopefully, that'll do is show people that we have more opportunities for growth in the agency, that we're not stagnant by you're a lieutenant and that's it. You can become a sergeant and then go to a lieutenant. It's the way we have to grow. So I've been building that out. Me and Plackey are working on it. We've looked at some stuff, but the cost is really expensive. I think I shared with you at a sidebar once at the last meeting, it was upwards of like 300,000, and that was back in 23. So I don't know what the prices today's market's going to be. It's going to be a little scary.
Madam Chair.
I think, Ms. Zorb, I heard you, I think.
So, Chief Cheney, so I heard you say that you're doing away with lieutenants, is that what you said?
Just one.
Because I know there was a big shakeup a couple years ago, I'll say 2-ish years ago, where we went the opposite. So we're going back now?
So we have not had sergeants since I've been here in 2015.
What did we get rid of then?
Sergeants way back prior to then. They changed them from sergeants to lieutenants. And back then, part of the reason was due to some of the state schools like Pelk or Clee. Back then, to get into those, you had to be a lieutenant or higher in administration. That's not required anymore. So that's one reason why they did it back then. Because we have 4 squads now, where before we only also had 3. We have 4 squads when we're on 12s. If we only have 3 lieutenants, that leaves one of the shifts without a supervisor, and you only have a officer who is just in charge.
So what does that other lieutenant do then? You still have a lieutenant, right?
Yeah, we'll have 2 lieutenants and 2 sergeants. So the structure will be both of the sergeants will be on each squad, probably on a split shift, 5P to 5A, so they see both squads. They will be in charge of road patrol. Primarily, they will be an administrative lieutenant, and then there will be a lieutenant that's over road patrol and like investigative units. But they will still work the road. They are not coming off the road. They still do the same job as a police officer as well.
The sergeants also.
Yes.
So the
'Cause-
sergeants and lieutenants will still be on the road.
Yes. Because we're not big enough to obviously have supervisors that
Well, that's what I was thinking.
just sitting in the office.
Okay.
So,
Chair.
yes,
And I don't want council to be afraid of the $300,000. There is definitely some relief funds out there that can help us pay for those generators. When we get to the point of purchase, we'll leverage those. It is something that is necessary, but I would just say that we're just all kind of going through an adjustment period and trying to get things done. It's a hierarchical system of what's most important right now. So I want the police department to be safe as the fire department. So
yeah, I actually wasn't cringing about the cost for the generator. I just want them to have one. And I want it to actually run the building. I think it's super important that there's at least one, because in the case of the emergency, what I realized is when the power goes off, they're not, that not only does the Wi-Fi go out, but apparently your 5G goes out too, because I couldn't get any devices to work. They were all charged up, but it didn't matter because there was no, I don't know why that worked that way. So I was just like, we've got to make sure that there's at least one place or one space where, if people need help from the police, they can call. So, okay, thank you very much, Chief Cheney. I did receive an update from Chief Plackey. Ms. Dukestein, are you familiar with what is going on with the fire department right now?
he didn't copy me on the update, but we did have a one-on-one last week.
Okay, hold on, let me open it up. I didn't print it out. Let's see. Oh, wait. I have to go into my email and. Okay. Okay. All right. I apologize. If anyone wants a copy, I'm happy to send this to you. It says that they had 227 what he calls incidents. Percent of fire calls were 10.9%. Percent of EMS calls were 74.4%. And then other calls, 24.7%. I guess, breakdown by unit, he has that. And then the response times, it says, North College Hill Fire Department is currently in the 90th percentiles for response times. So, it's really, really great. The personnel evaluations are 80% complete. And I guess one of their apparatus is undergoing repairs and maintenance. And the some warranty work is going on with the new ambulance. They completed over 60 hours of continuing education training for February. And multiple trainings involved collaboration with mutual aid partners. And they do have some live fire training scheduled with Springfield Township in March.
Madam Chair,
Yes.
I'd like to expound. So just on the ambulance, which is the apparatus that's in the shop, it was hit while it was in the shop. So it got delayed because of that. So they're fighting with the people to repair it, to make sure that it gets repaired and on their dime and not ours. I believe he said they got it back, and then they had to deal with the fact that something had happened to it while it was there. The other thing that was he didn't mention in there is they have they're one of like 3 in the whole United States that has this equipment, defibrillator equipment, and it counts natural rhythm of the heart and defibrillated rhythm of the heart. And so we've got some fancy equipment that we have in North College Hill that we can be proud of to make sure that we are resuscitating people and helping them with life sustainability. So that's it.
That's amazing. Okay, that's kind of great, actually. Okay, and so I didn't get anything from Public Works. Ms. Dukestein, do you know what's going on with Public Works?
Yeah, Public Works is hard, fast. I think I mentioned this. They're replacing the signage in the alleys and the streets. They are dealing with the potholes and just trying to recover from all of the backlag of how the neighbor. I mean, it's really difficult when you have weeks of snow just sitting on the ground, and then the garbage and the trash that is built up as a result of that. So this is definitely their busy season. We are hard fast at looking to replace the Public Works Director. We're just trying to get some viable candidates. Braden and I talked about that. The other thing is they are, oh shoot, it slipped me. I'm sorry. I don't know. If I think of it again, I'll come back to it. But they're definitely working hard.
Ms. Dukestein?
Yes.
Oh, I'm sorry. Ms. Sorb, you had something?
You can go.
So I know this is kind of personal, but I just had a question. So way back when when Mr. Mosby was sitting in your chair, I mentioned that there was a missing sign on the street. Well, it's not missing anymore, so I'm getting there. On the street where my office is, it's called Bake Street. And many of you probably don't notice the sign because it's super tiny. So I felt like he put a brand new sign there. So I'm like, did we really just go buy a sign that small? Because the sign is like tiny. Like, I feel like all of our signs should be the size of the one for Laboido, because, and yes, that is how you pronounce it, Laboido. It would be wonderful if all of the signs could be like that size, like you can see it without having to get a magnifying glass. And I'm just like, when you're trying to tell people like, oh, it's the corner of Bake Street and Galbraith, you can't see the sign. It's tiny. And so of course I got curious about that. And I'm driving around, and there's 4 different size street signs in North College Hill. They're all this beautiful, vibrant color blue, at least the newer ones are. But we have 4 different sizes. Can we is it just me? I mean,
Now,
okay.
I do know with the alleys have a different signage, and we're hoping to replace them. So at some point, what we're attacking first is there are a lot of signs that just aren't there. And we've had so many citizens complain about that, so we're trying to deal with that. I will definitely put this in to make sure that we get a more sizable sign, especially in a main area. There's a street off of Galbraith Road. So we're handling that in the priority of main streets need to have appropriate signage and the same sizing throughout the entire city, and then side streets and then alleys. A lot of our alleys do not have signs at all, so we're trying to focus on that this spring.
Okay, so speaking of, at one point, there was a room, Ms. Zorb, correct me if I'm wrong, there was a room that had a bunch of signs in it. So what happened?
It was the Public Works building.
So what are we?
I can ask them about the room.
It sounded
That's
like
probably
they were
before
on a
my-
workbench or something in the Public Works building.
That's probably before my time, but I'll circle back and ask them about the room of signs.
It was definitely before your time, but I was tickled back then, and I'm tickled now because I'm just like, I was annoyed by that sign, and I was like, well, let me drive around and look at some of the other signs, and I was like, really? There's like 4 different size signs, and Springfield Township, I think they copied us. That's what I think, but they have blue signs. And they're all the same, all the little uniform signs, but our signs are like, just some of them are tiny and some of them are huge, and
They also
Madam
have
Chair.
I'm sorry. They also have that's what I was going to say, that one of their salt trucks is down. So it's in the shop,
hopefully we don't need any more salt trucks. I'm just saying.
hopefully. Sorry.
Okay,
Madam Chair,
yes.
two things. On the subject of signs, I hear from somebody in the audience that there's no sign on Clover. Gloria. 0 signs on Gloria. So maybe we could have somebody look into that. But back to the Public Works Director position, I'm wondering, sometimes we only post that on our website. So hopefully we're leaning, can we get it on Indeed? Can we get it on Monster? Can we get it on every?
We put it out there.
Hiring.
We put it out there on the OML, our website, Indeed. I can add Monster to that list.
Yeah, please.
Madam Chair, I think Indeed already had like 50 hits.
Yeah, we're starting
It's-
to pick up and get some, and that was based on us. We're
just
getting
posted.
some, yeah.
I think there's,
And we also posted building and code.
I think LinkedIn even has a
Mm-hmm.
job.
Madam Chair. And, are we on Ohio Jobs?
Mm-hmm, that's OML.
Okay then.
Madam Chair,
Yes.
as far as your signs, there's state regulations on signs, so we should be following that on how big the sign's supposed to be, how it's supposed to be actually posted on a pole and whatnot. So if Public Works needs that, I can get it to them so we can make sure we're in compliance with that
You know,
too.
even though there are state regulations, because we are a city, we can, as long as we don't run afoul of the state regulation, we can
Well, that's what I'm
go.
saying. No, I think there's
Right, we can-
guidelines
yeah,
that tells
we-
you
right.
exactly how big they're supposed to be and how
Yeah.
that you are supposed to be following those guidelines. So, because if you don't, and then something happens, you could be
Yeah.
held liable. So,
Okay, well, I thought I would throw that out there. Any old business?
Yes.
Yeah, oh, okay.
So I sent you guys an email about the devices and safety, and this is internet online safety is where I'm bringing it up. I talked to you all about the VPN and the being able to access the shared drive and all of that. So you guys have to make some decisions as to whether or not you want to buy devices for everyone to keep your devices uniform, or do you just want to buy 2 new more for those that need it? That's a decision for you all to make.
Did everyone see Ms. Dukestein's email
Yes.
about, so I am not going to turn over my computer to a public records request. You know, I can't do that. This is my work computer. So, that being said, can we just talk about it? Can I just get like a sense of what everybody's thinking? Because we need to do that so we can access some of these things.
Madam Chair.
Yes.
So I have a different perspective on the whole VPN thing. I don't know that we have to have VPN. I work all day at my house without using VPN, and we share documents on a Teams channel. The one thing that concerns me is if we use share files, is that when that person leaves and is no longer on council, that file access goes away. And we're dealing with that right now. I was trying to send some documents to Mr. Hedger, old minutes and stuff, and I don't have them. I can't get them because that person is no longer here.
I agree.
If they're on Teams, it's a repository where those documents will stay until you delete them.
Right. And that's what I was kind of asking when I had asked for something to be created for us. Like, it was like somewhere where we could all go and put it. And, you know, even if we all leave, the next 7 people could come and click on a button and open up those documents. That's what I was asking about. And I might have called it the wrong thing, but that's really what I was envisioning. And I agree with you. A lot of the documents that I had created from before are gone because we had Gmail back then. We now have Outlook. So I can't even go through my sent items and pull them out that way. It's, you know, just very frustrating to,
Madam Chair.
yeah, yes.
How would you feel if you and I worked on a file structure on Teams? Would you have any time
We
to
could
do
do that.
that?
I would be happy to do that.
All right.
Yeah, I just,
Let's set that up. Let's give it a try, see if it works. And because it's free, we already have Teams on our. And you can download Teams onto your phone. I mean, it's.
right, we just have a lot of public records requests, and you know how I feel about that.
We need to simplify it. I know.
Okay.
Yep.
All right, so any new business, action items, keeping in mind it's 7 o'clock.
Right. All right, real quick, Madam Chair.
Yes.
Okay. Chief Cheney. So we've got the State of Ohio Violent Crime Reduction Grant Program. I'm currently working on a proposal, and I'm asking, would y'all be okay with being the implementing agency?
yeah.
Okay. I don't mind, because I had it typed out and everything, but like I said, it's 6:59. So I'll email it to everybody. Make sure we make sure it's properly edited. Make sure there's anything we need to add. But I want to make sure I had that asked while you were here.
Sure, absolutely.
And also because that application is due on the 19th. So
Correct.
I'm going to be working on that and working with you really quickly. So
I appreciate it. Thank
Okay.
you.
Okay, thank you very much. And it is 7 o'clock, so I am going, or 7:01. So I'm going to adjourn the public safety meeting at this time. Thank you.
Ms. Zorb had made it back. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to start the Community and City Development and Recreation meeting. This is going to be real quick. Our agenda today, we were scheduled to meet with the Recreation Director, but unfortunately she wasn't able to make it. So I'm going to table that item. We're going to move on to any old business.
Mr. Chair,
Yes.
I have old business. So I just, it's my pleasure to bring back to the community my desire to move forward with the beautification awards for our neighbors who work tirelessly to maintain their properties. I currently have 4 North College Hill residents who have joined the Yard Crashers Committee to judge each quadrant of North College Hill's yards. There will be 4 winners each round. I'm looking for one more final judge to join our Yard Crasher team. So if you are interested, send me an email. I also, for those who are watching and those who are here, I have a mock certificate and yard sign that I will proudly deliver to each winner. So I will share that with you guys here shortly. There will also be a letter of acknowledgement, certificate, and yard sign that the resident gets to keep. If the resident agrees, their home will also be photographed and proudly displayed at the senior center in lieu of the city center. I'm asking the Recreation, City, and Development Committee to move this project to council floor. I have 4 sign companies and quotes to present to make this initiative happen.
Mr. Chair,
Yes, go ahead.
Ms. Gaston, you said there'll be 4 winners each round, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
How often, like, is it every month? Or
Every
how-
90 days.
Every 90 days?
So this is like,
And they'll get the signs and, if permission granted, their home photographed and presented in the senior center?
yes. And so this is what like the certificate would look like, something really cute, very flashy, so people want to keep it and display it in their home and keep working hard. So
That be double-sided?
it will be double-sided. And this is a picture, I don't know if those on TV land can see, of what the yard sign would look like. And it shows that it's North College Hill, best yard of the season. So I'll pass that down so you guys can look.
And are there any rules, like it has to be fresh flowers and not plastic flowers or anything?
Should that say, according to North College Hill Yard Crashers?
Oh, I will add that. Thank you. Mary Jo had mentioned at the bottom, it says City of North College Hill, but I will also put Yard Crashers on there, just so they know.
Is that, I mean, I thought that's what I just heard you called your,
Yes.
your group of people,
Here
Yard
you go.
Crashers?
You could pass this down for me. So there will be a criteria, and the group will meet to develop that criteria, and we will get started as all the flowers begin to bloom and the grass begins to be cut. And also, it's not limited to what the yard looks like as far as like leaves and things, but you know, what it looks like for Easter, what it looks like in the summer for 4th of July, who has the best lights on their house for Christmas and Halloween, things like that. So get really creative, have pride in your home and your property, and we will be by. So you never know when the Yard Crashers are coming.
Yay.
I'm going to ask you, Ms. Zorb. She said we need to move that to council. Do we email that to Mr. Graver, or how would we go about doing that?
That's a great
So,
question.
can-
Go ahead.
may I answer?
Oh, absolutely.
Oh, sorry, may I answer?
I was gonna
Forgot.
wait. Hey,
Sorry.
that works for me.
Oh.
Go ahead, Ms. Zorb.
So let's go back to the, you have 4 quotes.
Mm-hmm.
I think we should narrow that down and just have one to send. And then, yeah, you'd send an email to Mr. Dieters, have him write legislation to support it,
Okay.
and then it would go to
You take that note for me.
council.
I will pick the lowest bid.
So,
Go ahead. Sorry.
so we need to send this information over to Mr. Dieters for legislation
Yes, sir.
in order to move it towards council?
Yes.
Okay.
And I will tell you that that was an action item from our last meeting. I already sent it to Mr. Dieters, and I did put a deadline on it to have it for the 3/17 meeting, and he already replied and said, "Will do."
Oh, awesome.
So, okay, so we already have this request in to Mr. Dieters.
No,
A
no, 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 no.
previous request.
That was for the last committee meeting I was just in.
Oh, okay.
I'm just giving you an example of his response time.
It was quick.
It
Okay,
was quick.
all right.
So,
Is there a certain verbiage we should have?
That's on him.
Okay, he'll put the verbiage in.
I mean, maybe you could put the 90 days and the four winners every 90 days.
Okay.
And I'd mention something about yard crashers or will be the judges, and it's a how many person team?
It's 5. We
There you go.
currently have 4, so we're looking for one more.
Those are just a few of the tidbits that
Okay.
I'd
And he'll put
send to
all
him,
that
and
in there.
yep,
Okay,
he'll work the magic.
all right.
all right, so we'll get that moved to Mr. Dieters so we can get that on the council floor.
So I will tell you that I also, when I sent my email, I added Mr. Graver and Mr. Hedger so that they know it's coming.
And you have the quote, can you send us the
I
quote?
sure will, yes.
Thank you.
All right. Ms. Gaskins, if you
Yes.
can provide the vice chair with all that information,
I will.
and that way we can move forward with that.
Sounds good.
Okay. All
Thank
right.
you.
Is there any other old business?
Mr. Chair, I have something.
Yes,
So
Ms. Zorb.
I guess, so I went back and rewatched it. At the last council meeting, you mentioned, and this, I'm going to quote you. It says, we are North College Hill is moving forward with the sports league. Anyone interested, coaches, cheerleaders for the teams, reach out to you. So I guess I've never heard in our committee meetings that we were actually going forward because the AD hasn't shown up for any of the meetings. So I guess I was just confused how we got to the point where we were moving forward if we didn't have, I guess I just need to know some details around that.
Okay,
around us moving
so the AD did show up to the very first meeting we had about these activities as far as moving, putting the sports program together. The meetings after that, their schedules were, conflicted. They wasn't able to show up to the additional meetings, but we also was able to meet with the athletic director and superintendent on February the 12th. We had it was a meeting, the makeup meeting, because they wasn't able to make it to the special meeting that we had. So,
that met with them then.
I'm sorry.
That wasn't the committee that met with them, right?
No,
with them.
it was actually me and the vice chair
We went to their
office and met
Okay.
with them. So we was able to make some headway as far as where they stood and as far as the program. So we planned on addressing all of our findings in our upcoming meeting that we were scheduling for March 31st. We will be scheduling a special meeting for community development and recreation for March 31st. That way we can share our findings and give an update of where the community, the CCDR stands, right? Committee stands as far as where we at with our projects and the things that we had on our agenda.
Okay. Will the Recreation Commission be at that meeting also?
I will see what I can as far as getting them there. My goal is to try and get everyone involved in it there at this upcoming meeting, so that way we can all be on one page, one sound.
Okay, good. Thank you.
Mm.
It felt a little
Understandable.
disjointed to me. I didn't know about that
Yes,
other
ma'am.
meeting that you had.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
Mr. Chair,
Yes.
what was the date of the next meeting you said?
We will be holding that on March 31st.
Okay.
Mr. Chair,
Yes.
just a heads up, my schedule doesn't allow for me to be available on the 31st. Are there other dates that we can look at?
Well, give me a second here.
I don't have my phone, or I can't get my computer. That's my phone at home.
So that ain't gonna help, is it?
Kind of like your right arm.
I know. I was so busy trying to rush to get here, I left my phone at home.
That's okay.
She can zoom.
Well,
Catch it for
like I said, I can't speak on my
you.
schedule.
Yeah, I know.
at
I mean,
at
well, that was the
point.
schedule that we had. That's
Yeah.
where I got it from. So.
Mr. Chair,
Yes.
what days are you available, Ms. Gaston? Looking like a nothing.
Can I get back with you guys?
That's
I'm sorry.
Yeah, because I would probably have to get back.
Yeah. I mean, so I'm.
Tentatively, it's still the 31st until.
You're
we-
right. Exactly.
Fine.
So and.
Okay.
And then you reach out to, my vice chair, and if you work that out, whatever you two work out, I can make, I can make it. But as far as the rest of the committee, I won't have to reach out to them to see if it'll be feasible for them. But whatever y'all come up with, as far as the chair, I can be there.
Okay.
So for right now, tentatively, it's going to be for March 31st. Until we hear anything further. So with that being said, any more old news?
I'm sorry. I know I was not present in the room, Mr. Chair. But can you tell me what the meeting on March 31st is?
It's an update meeting to update everyone as far as the CCDR committee is, as far as our events that we had on our agenda, where they at as far as getting them organized and together. Also, Ms. Zorb asked if it's possible to get the rec commission there, so we'll work on that. So that the 31st is an update meeting for our committee to bring everything that we have to the table. All right. Is there any other old news?
I'll take, I don't know if, I'll give an update from Ms. Clear. So, in terms of the fireworks show, we solidified the sponsorship letter today. And so she'll be sending that out to a list of businesses to try to solidify funds for that. We're still trying to decide 1 day or 2 days on the fireworks, if we want to do it on the Friday before or the Saturday of the main event. And then I know I sent an email back to you specifically, but I don't know if you had this on your agenda, but I suggested that you put the Party in the Park on your agenda, because we actually do have, the city has a membership based on, is that me breathing in there? But the city has a membership based on, for movie titles that we purchased. And if we do something out here at this location in the parking lot in terms of a theater, we can leverage that licensure for that. I don't know if you guys would like to consider doing that. And then the food truck sign-up sheet is being put on Sign Up Genius. So she'll have to, if you create a login, then those sign-ups will come straight to you. She sent an email about it today.
Okay.
So I don't know if you're interested in that. That kind of takes some of the work out of you going ahead and getting the paperwork from them and all of that. Then they can just sign up online. Maybe just contact them and lead them to the website once they agree to come out for the food truck. That would require you to create a login so that you can send it out and the emails can come back to you.
Yes, ma'am.
It's just up to you of how you want to do it.
Yeah, I remember.
Go ahead.
I remember asking her about it. She was working on training 2 other individuals, and I asked her for that to make it a little easier for me to get, food truck individuals can just go online and sign up. So thank you. I appreciate that.
Mr. Chair.
Yes.
Ms. Dukestein, as in reference to the Juneteenth, I think the committee, or the Juneteenth kickoff meeting is tomorrow. And it is my recommendation that we have the event on one day so that we're not using too many resources on multiple days. So we just have it all on one day, fireworks and everything. So.
I don't have any skin in the game.
I know.
I definitely support the one day, but I will tell you then in talking to Ms. Clear, she said it makes for a very long day. Just because the earliest events start and the parade starts, the lineup. I can't remember what time they were here last year, but if you think about even just 9 or 9:30, and then you go down to 9:30, a fireworks show, it just makes for a really, really long day. And I would like for you to keep in mind, and this is Ms. Clear expressing her sentiments, that the fireworks show would definitely be at a different location because the Chase Bank is there, so you're asking people to commute over.
Oh, yeah.
So that you need to take that into consideration. I personally, I just feel like when I see other events that are right there, it'd be different if we were having it at the Chase Bank, but this because it's away.
Right.
It's just food for thought. You guys hash it out. I kind of feel both. The only thing that makes me kind of say the 2 days is to get more participation is because it's at a different location. However, if I were attending something, I would want to keep it in the same day. So hash it out. What I say.
Yes, Mr. Chair. Go ahead.
Yes, go ahead, Ms. Zort.
So I guess I was trying to figure out that I didn't know we were firmly going towards the fireworks. I thought we were even talking about the drone show. I guess I didn't hear, again, in an open meeting, I didn't hear that the decision had been made. And then secondly, if we are going forward with the fireworks, like, do we have a location? I thought that was.
Yeah, so we have a location.
Where's that?
It's at North College Hill School.
Can you be more specific?
It will be on baseball diamond.
On the baseball diamond?
Yes, ma'am.
Well, I think so. There was, depending on what company we go to, and there with the service that they offer, because some of them will wet down the roof, or each location or each company had one map that I saw. They sent. There was one-on-one. They had it on the opposite side of the information that you sent, and so once we determine which day, the length of the show, just all the details but it is at the school.
So it is.
It is at the school.
So it's at the school, and I met with that. I was meaning to send you back an email. So I've already met with the pyrotechnician company. Because like I said, once I had all of this stuff going on with it, I did the footwork. I met up with everybody. I got them out. I've spoken to the individuals with the concerns and to make sure that the concerns were addressed, and it was addressed in this one bid that I have that I will send over to Ms. Teichester. So, like I said, we did, even with Chief Cheney's safety plan that he already put together, with the shot site being on the opposite side of the field. You know, we had took and sat down in the February 12th meeting with the superintendent of North College Hill School, and he was in favor of it using the side of where the baseball diamond is too, because it ensures him that he doesn't have much much of the outflow doesn't fall on the school, the field or the school. So I think it's like might be a quarter of the building that it falls on, that they will spray down and stuff. So like I said, we had did the footwork. We had brought these the technicians out, so they've already been out to look at it and everything, and they did send us over a quote for the services for a 30-minute show. So that I'm just saying that was the thing. So we did get a quote for a 30-minute show. Everything was laid out. Like I said, the only adjustments that we really needed was to Chief's safety plan, because like I said, his safety plan was set up for the shot to be on the opposite side, and we actually need him to redo it for this side. So like I said, I'm going to send that information over to Ms. Tychester, because at that time, once we had that special meeting, that's what happened. You know, Ms. Tychester was appointed as the manager for that project. You know, so with that way we can get recreation and the committee together to get it all put in place. So I meant to send you that email over, and I got busy.
So,
Mr. Chair.
Yes, Ms. Orr.
So we have a quote for a 30-minute show. Do you know how much that's for?
Yes. So the quote was for, he said 19. I have to double look, but it was like around 19. So, and
19,000?
Yes. And he said they would, we'll take a look at any other adjustments we would need also, as far as, because I know the shells are only going to be 2. They're only going to use 2. They don't want to go up no higher than 2, because if you go higher than 2, it's the outspurt is a lot bigger. So that's not, they don't have anything higher, they don't have the survey done for anything higher than a 2. But I do know that it's around like 19, 20 at the most for the 30-minute show. So, but I will, like I said, I will be sending that quote information over to Ms. Tychester, so that way she can take it from there. And then Chief Cheney, if you could work with Ms. Tychester to get the information as far as, from, because like I said, you already have a safety plan, but it's for this side.
I need to know
and the
where
other
we're
side.
adjusting everything so I can adjust.
Yeah,
the whole
that's
plan.
all. That way you can come up with another plan. That's it.
Mr. Chair.
Yes.
Okay, so I think I sent you an email letting you know. So, and I just want to make sure that I'm delivering this as, safely as possible. The way that you're assigning Ms. Chichester to be the manager, that's not a responsibility of council, and it encroaches upon the administrative ability to do the job. Ms. Clear is our recreational director. She by right should be handling the coordination of the events. So I did talk with Ms. Chichester and I talked with Ms. Clear, and they're gonna work collaboratively together. They don't have any issues working with one another. So, and then in terms of the money, the sponsorship, I understand that it's in your committee and that you're aiding with the planning and kind of putting out there the desires that you want. However, we are going to have to move according to how much money we have, and that is going to be outlined for us in the sponsorship letters and the amount of responses that we get back. And then the safety is really per whatever the company recommends, and then the superintendent can decipher whether or not that's something that they feel comfortable with the recommendations of the people who are putting on the fireworks show. And the reason I wanted to make sure that I said that is because no matter what our aims are, like even if it's like 30 minutes, if we don't have the money to sustain a 30-minute show, then we have to kind of scale back. If we get the resources to sustain a 30-minute show, that's definitely what we will pay for. The other part of the Juneteenth celebration has already been funded. And so this sponsor letter, per what you had requested, you wanted to go out separately, which I think it should be, because it, sponsorship entails those people who do sponsor us to be an advertisement and to be in a partnership with North College Hill to say we support your event. These are the advertising, marketing things, branding things we want to go out around the event. So I want to make sure that those people that sponsor us get the appropriate advertisement, and that their dollars are shown bright and clear in our city. So with that, that'll kind of be how this first year of this event is outlined, because we can't pull money where money isn't. This wasn't put in the budget. And I know that there are some things, and council sometimes raises, well, other things weren't put in the budget, but it depends on what directive it comes from. If it comes from the mayor, that's a little different, because she has her own money that she can use for her own things. But if it comes from council, we have to figure out where it is. This year, it looks like sponsorship. So that sponsorship is asking businesses within and externally to support our desire to put on a fireworks show. And so cost is going to be a big factor in the magnitude of the show that we put on. And then once we decipher based on cost, we need to decipher safety and all of that.
Okay, so I wasn't meaning to send you an email back as far as the response. So I totally understand everything you were saying, and I don't want this to come off the wrong way, but this information has been put out to the Recreation Department back in July after I first sat down. It's been plenty of attempts to get the Recreation Department to participate with us to get these things organized and scheduled. It wasn't until the last meeting that the Recreation Department decided that they were interested. So then come February 10th, here we are having these conversations again about our projects that we already thought, we were getting organized and whatnot, and they still wasn't being organized. So at that meeting, no one said, hey, that's outside of council's ability. They all actually was saying, hey, let's give Mr. Wilson, chair, because I can't do it all by myself, a hand. And that's how Ms. Tychester ended up becoming appointed to manage the fireworks program. Ms. Gaskins became the appointee to manage the movie in the parks. I also reached out to Ms. Zorb and asked her to give me a helping hand with managing, getting together the party in the park, getting these things together. So I have reached out to the Recreation Department to involve the Recreation Department with getting these organized, and I haven't been getting any assistance with doing so. So like I said, I can only move with what I've been dealing with. So, in the future,
Mr.
yeah.
Chair. Mr. Chair.
Go ahead.
So I've been working sort of as a liaison, I wouldn't say manager, with Ms. Clear. And that's how I got invited for tomorrow's meeting with the committee. And we've been looking at what's the best plan. So she's been answering my questions and responding to my emails about what's already in the works and how can we fit the fireworks show. So we got like a plan A, plan B.
So I don't want to cut you off, but I will thank you. It's not trying to cut you off. Like I said, I only got 3 minutes left, but that's the information that I was going to meet up with you and get there and see where we stood at. And so if you could, note that, and then that way when we meet, we can get there, get to that point. And like I said, again, no disrespect to the administration, because I know the process and everything, but this is where I've been. These are the cards that I was dealt, and I'm just playing them the way I was dealt them. So I will do what I can to clean it up, and make sure that it's within compliance of our charter and everything, but we have to move these projects forward with getting them organized and on our calendar so that way we can prepare ourselves for next year. Now, like I said, it's not fair to me only because I have been pushing this since 24. This is now 25. I thought that I would have got the cooperation that I needed back then, so that way these things would have been done. We could have had the sponsorship. Like, we wouldn't even been nervous about it because I've been back in 2024 asking to get a letter out so that way we could have started then to get these funds in, so that way we were prepared for 2025. Now we're coming down the ladder. We're here. These ideals were already out. These hours should have been organized and ready to go, but they're not, and that's okay. We're just going to work together to get it done, and now I just want to try and get them done, so that way when we go and pull up our calendar, they're there.
Mr. Chair,
Yes.
I'm sorry. I guess I'm not in the loop on what's going on. So I'm hearing different things, so I guess I'm getting even more confused. So I heard you say that you have a quote and you are going to send it to the finance chair, and that's for $19,000. But now I'm hearing about some kind of sponsor letters. So council's not paying them?
No, so council was
I'm
never never intended to pay for it. It was told for me when I first brought this ideal up that we would have to raise the money. That's always been the
Okay, so
ideal.
then help me understand what you're sending to finance then. I guess that's where my confusion came in.
What I'm sending to finance is the quotes that we got for the pyrotechnicians, for the fireworks show.
But you don't need finance's approval for that.
No, like I said in our last meeting, because I've been trying to get all of this stuff done.
Yeah.
So it's been pushed to where I had to assign someone to give me a hand with getting these done. And that's how Miss Titchester got assigned as the manager. You know what I'm saying? That's
So
how
not
Ms.
as the finance chair.
Yeah,
just
yeah.
as-
She's just as
Okay.
a
That's
regular
all. Okay,
individual
different hat.
helping me.
I'm
Yeah, that's
I'm
correct.
with
Yes,
you
ma'am.
now.
Okay.
All right,
So
sorry.
so is we good?
Yes.
Okay. So with that being said, I will close this meeting. We will adjourn at 7:35.
All right, anybody need a break before we start budgeting and finance? So we're going to start with the agenda for today, Monday, March 10th. And we're going to start with the January's end of month monthly report. I sent that out into the emails with everyone. I'm trying to be environmental friendly, so.
And I'll tell you on this agenda, number 1 and number 2 are the same thing. EOM stands for end of monthly report.
Yeah.
So I'll start. Won't start there. Miss Anderson, these are Miss Anderson's documents that I'm coming behind to present. So I know what they mean. I just have to look at them a second to get my bearings. Here we go. Okay. So this is our bank reconciliation for January, because we're working on the end of month January. This right here is our beginning balance, and this is our all of our outstanding deposits and receipt differences and everything. So when you're looking for, and then this is our adjusted balance. So the reason why we have a difference between our beginning balance and our adjusted balance is because even though we have outstanding checks, they haven't hit the bank yet. So this is what we have in the bank today, the $8.5 million. Once all the checks come through for this month, we will be at 8.402. Okay. So then I'll go over to,
Sorry, Madam Chair.
yes.
Ms. Dukestein, I'm not sure I'm seeing what what you're reading. Is it just on the screen or?
It's in your emails. It was the Excel
It should be
sheet.
in your email. It's
Okay.
not in the packet that I gave you. The packet that I gave you are documents that you haven't received via email.
Okay, all right.
I just wanted to make sure you had them.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Sorry. Oh, I don't want to do that.
Madam Chair.
Yes, Ms. Zork?
So I think I've asked this question before, but I'm going to ask it again. So this $8 million, that is all funds. So that's street levy, fire levy, police levy,
That's our
senior
general
levy,
fund balance.
everything.
That's our general fund balance.
Okay.
It says general.
So it says general account, but it's,
Yep.
yes. So
You want to know if it?
forgive me, that number is
Different.
really meaningless to us because there's restricted fund dollars in there that, so it's, in my opinion, that's a convoluted number that doesn't mean anything to us. Like
How so?
how, so Chief Cheney's here. So how does he know how much of that 8.4 million is in his police levy? There's no way of knowing. There's no way of knowing what the divvy up is.
He does know because he has access to finance authority and he
Okay.
has access to all of
Okay,
his.
so then I won't talk for him then. I'll talk for us. We have no way of knowing what he has in the police levy. We have no
and
way of knowing what's in the fire levy.
I mean, if you guys would like to see something different, remember at the end of last year, I asked you all when we were closing out the month end if you wanted to see something different. But in general, what you need to be seeing on a monthly basis is did what our revenues bring in and our expenses going out balance in the checkbook. That's in general what you're responsible for. Now, if you want to see
So all
something
due respect,
more,
I disagree with that.
okay, well, I'm basing that on what the state standard says. Our monthly report should be, did our checkbook balance? Did you see what comes in, what goes out?
But again, it's restricted funds, so it's
But
not.
we're not using those restricted funds on a monthly basis. Like, for example, if they're using those funds for payroll or different, like the levy resources, these are the general funds that you're seeing come in and out. Those levy funds,
This isn't general funds.
I'm sorry?
You just said that this is general funds that come in and out. This is not general funds.
What is in general funds?
This 8.4 million is not general funds.
The 8.4 million is the general fund bank account.
Ms.
It's the
Zork,
general account. It's not the
It-
general
it is
fund.
the-
bank
if I can
account.
interject
the
for a
general
second,
fund count.
because we're just going to go back and forth. Ms. Zork, we asked at the end of the last Budget and Finance Committee what the council or the committee would like to see different. No one spoke up. No one said anything to give us time to prep,
But
give
if-
us time to put anything out there. We
I've
asked.
I've
I
asked
said
several
forever
times.
I said, is there anything you guys would like to see differently in the budget
Please
report?
don't gaslight me.
I'm not. I'm just telling you.
I've asked
Did I or did
several
I not?
times.
Committee could back that up.
Mr. Chair,
No one
or
said
Madam
anything.
Chair.
Yes, ma'am.
That question was asked, and if I remember correctly, there was a council member who specifically asked that they would like more time to think about what it is that they want to see because it's a lot going on. So I believe
That was Ms. Underwood.
going
Yes, ma'am.
forward, unfortunately, there are going to be questions that are going to come up that you need clarification on, and then we can just add, okay, for next month's report, let's change
Absolutely.
it.
But we can't
I
go
understand.
back and forth, and that we're never going to get anything done if we're like doing that. So
So I
she
guess
wants
what
to-
I'm saying is my expectation was that I would deliver the same thing that I did in months prior to make sure that you are getting, I don't have any issues providing something else. But to date, no one has actually said this is specifically what I would like to see. So if you want to see something more specific, let's email those so that we can come back for the following month.
I don't want to
prepared.
change our monthly reporting as of yet, without looking to see what that all entails for a workload for our finance director. For one reason, for two reasons.
But
Let me finish.
But
Let me finish.
I would like
For two
to
reasons.
say, I would like to just, if you look here, this is the revenue balance, right? So this revenue balance actually breaks it out per account. So the information is probably here, but not palatable in the way that you're hoping for, or maybe we can change the way. But if you see, these are here. This is 101, this is 201, this is 401, 302. All of it's here.
There's
This-
no balance
Are you,
there.
she's asking for the
It is,
ending
the
balance
balance
of
is
the
at the
accounts.
bottom.
If you scroll down at the end of each account, if you look down, let me put my glasses on.
So
I
this
can
is
go
a
to the
balance of
first-
all the revenues for the month of January that we have received, broken down
It's blue,
by
light blue highlighted.
departments or the account numbers. And so it goes all the way through fund balance 801 all the way up to 101 and everything in between. And then you see at the end here is the total. So that should tell you how much we brought in, where we brought it in. It even has like transfers and rental deposit refunds, specifically federal grants, rental deposit refunds, special assignment, sidewalk repair, rental deposit refunds. It has everything specifically there, and I didn't redact or remove anything.
Yeah, so that's gonna, so I worked very hard with Ms. Anderson on creating the reports that will be clear and concise to council and break down any accounts, any questions, or any funding that you guys may have questions on. So when we asked last budget and finance meeting if this was okay, because we worked together, we were saying we're gonna report 2-month lag behind to give her the end of the month time to get these reports together and for us to meet and go over. If you guys would like something different, I can go back to the drawing board with her and we can work together and look at what reports can be ran that are giving you clear answers that's not in this one. I thought this one gave the most clear report. It broke down each account, each budget in each budget summary for each account. So you could see for every department which accounts is outlined out and what's the end of it at the end of the page or the end of the
Madam
account
Chair,
fund. Yes, ma'am. I'm sorry, Ms. Underwood.
I'm just trying to follow along, okay?
Mm-hmm.
I want to know what report Ms. Zorb was looking at, and then I want to know, like, which one you are referring to,
Mm-hmm.
so I can understand kind of, just again,
If you don't mind, I'll
So the-
take
the
that
first-
question.
The first one I was looking at was the Excel spreadsheet that's in the email.
okay,
So
all right.
that's the lump sum of
Was
everything. It's basically what's in your checking account, not what you have to pay for your house payment, not what you had to pay for your water bill, like to correlate it to your checking account.
Right.
It's everything that's in your checking account.
but the other documents tell you exactly what it breaks down per account.
So
Okay,
it re-
about that.
It requires some work on,
I'm just trying, I'm trying to understand here. So when I look at this other document, which with the one I think that you were referring to,
What's the title? I don't
Uh,
know.
Revenue
hold on.
balancing summary.
hold on, revenue balancing summary report. Yeah, so when I look at that document, and I'm just kind of doing rough math, just not, I don't have a calculator where I'm adding it all up, but that doesn't add up to $8 million. So
what are you,
I'm just trying to
Okay.
listen,
help me
I
out.
don't understand.
And that's what I'm here for, to try to help bring clarity. So the revenue budget is not going to represent $8 million. The revenue budget only represents the revenue that we received into the city for the month of January. So the number here at the bottom gives you the amount of money that we brought in for 1 month. The breakdowns, and this is the document that's on the screen, the revenue balance summary report for year 2025, month 1. And then if you were wanting to look, so you see here at the top, this 401, it says OPW grant. and then nothing came in. So these are the subcategories. So if you want to see what came in where per the departments, you'll see them individually broken out. These are all the monies received in 1 month. So the reason why we don't give you, first of all, you'll continue to see from 1 month to month to month. You have to remember we're in January, so we're starting over. So some of these are going to look really low for right now because the month we only brought in these spaces that are documented on this sheet. This is taken straight from our finance software so that you get to see from January on to February how much. You'll see these, if you save these documents, you'll see they'll change every month. And they'll change because that's what has been brought in those categories in that particular month to make up this grand total down here at the bottom, which is right here.
Okay, so, I'm sorry, Madam Chair, can I just ask her?
Yes, Ms. Hunter,
Okay,
go ahead.
so if I want to see how much money is in the street fund, what do I look at to see that?
Are you asking in terms of revenue or expenses or just a total balance in the street fund?
I have no idea. I just want to, but if I was curious about it, where would I look?
It would not be in this document, in any of these documents. But you can send a note to myself or the finance department and we would respond back to you with what was in the street fund.
Okay. So, so when Ms. Zorb is talking about restricted funds, like the street fund is one of those things that's restricted, right?
Mm-hmm.
So is it that general, the general fund account, is that actually our general fund? Or is that our bank account that encompasses everything?
That is the bank account that encompasses everything. Another place where you can look for, if you just wanted to know how much was in the street fund, you can actually look on the 2025 budget allocation, because that's what it is. So we have this big account. Things come in, things come out. How we govern or look or steward where that money is coming from is in our finance software. The bank doesn't break it out by account. We do that internally.
Okay.
That's our responsibility as a finance department. So when you see these revenue pockets, these are going into, this is money coming in to those various different buckets.
Okay.
And then expenses are coming out of those various different buckets. If you're wanting an update on those buckets month to month, that's a different ask. So what we're saying is we're looking down, and I agree to give you that on a quarterly basis because that's more like a cleanup and saying, here we are. On a month-to-month basis, what I've been giving you is, did we balance? Did our checkbook balance? These are our expenses. These are our revenues. And did our checkbook balance? On a quarterly basis is when we look at where we are to date in the budget and what we budgeted for, how much of that into our spending have we went into, and are we on track for the year? That's typically what you would get on a quarterly basis. Okay. And if that's what you're wanting on a monthly basis, that's fine, but that is definitely more than the state requires us to give. You just tell me what you want, and I will make sure that we bring that back. So the reason I propose that we do the more kind of deep dive on a quarterly basis is because month to month it becomes very difficult to follow. And it's like you're picking at this, you're picking at that, and then some things come in and then some things haven't gone out. Like, for example, you have deposits from like Rumpke coming in and then the payment hasn't gone out. But on the quarterly basis, it gives you a little bit more time to see those things even out.
Okay, so at the risk of going down a rabbit hole, is it possible to see, like, not from like 2023, for example, like everything that went out and everything that came in, like is there like some kind of report or something where you can look for that year to see everything that went out and everything that came in?
From 2020, from previous years?
Yes.
I'm pretty sure there is, but let me double check.
Okay.
That's something I'd have to default because I'm still learning the reports that need to be had from finance or can be retrieved from finance authority. But I'm pretty sure that that's possible.
Okay, okay.
Is that something you'd be interested in?
Yes, and here's why. Because I had a concern, and I just want to know, like, just for that, for 2023, for example, like, if I want to go and look to see what it looks like, if we can go and look and see what it looks like.
Yes, but that's more of an individual ask. We're trying to.
Yeah, I'm not trying to say like everybody. I'm just
Right. So for those individual asks, can we email? And we
Okay.
will deliver on the individual ask, especially those of you who are on the finance committee and on council. For the monthly reporting, you should be looking to see if the checkbook is balancing.
Okay. I'll just come and talk to you, because a lot of this is just me not really knowing what the heck I'm looking at, because I'm still trying to figure out what the parentheses mean, and just
The
Can you
parentheses
stay
means
there for a minute?
negative.
Parentheses means negative.
so. Okay, so
Yeah, see, that really changed all the numbers that you were doing in your head, didn't it?
I'll ask you later.
Madam Chair,
Madam Chair, sorry.
go ahead.
Yes.
I was just going to answer to your question, yes. So like when I prepared my 25 budget for you guys and I needed to see where I needed to ask for additional money, I was able to run a report for 24 that showed what I purchased out of each account. Because last year, obviously, I was new to it. So I was like, okay, what goes where? And now this year, so then I printed that out for the end. So now I'm more able to figure out, this probably should go in this account and pay it out of this account. And then,
You noticed that I asked for 2023.
yes, but you can do that too. It goes all the way back. I've seen it.
So this is the only thing that I do have as a caveat to 2023 or any years prior, any of these years. You have to remember for with police, sometimes it's this way and sometimes it's not. The individual departments, the same place a set of money comes in is not always the same place a set of money goes out. So, for example, Rumpke comes in one space, it goes out of another. So when you're looking at that, just keep that in mind because they're not going to line up exactly.
That's why we look at the month-end
Madam Chair.
balance, checking to make sure it balanced. Because it may look like something came out of the account this month, but the revenue may not get deposited until next month, or vice versa. We might have revenue, but things might hit the account the next month. You know how it is when you write a check, it doesn't always clear as soon as you write it, but we still record it because we know what's coming out.
Okay, so see, you're indulging my question. So, for example, I'm curious, like, how much money did we spend on gas? And not just like as a city, like if I want to know, like, how much money did fire spend on gas? How much money did police spend on gas? And then, how
You can
I
address those.
if I wanted to see that, is there
So-
any way to like see like that
Individually,
specific thing?
departments like that.
Right.
So correct me if I'm wrong, Chief Cheney, but I remember at the last year in December Budget and Finance Committee report, it was
I'm not
stated
on
there's
budget.
not a meter on there to tell which department is using which levels of gas?
Correct.
Yeah.
So right now, right now there's a line item for fuel. Excuse me, I can't remember if it's in the general fund line item or the
Right.
levy fund line item. I don't touch that. It's there. And I watch it dwindle down because the finance department, I guess, spreads it out. Now, I know we have talked about at some point putting some kind of control on there where like police would scan a card and it would say, okay, police did this, and it could be, but I don't know if that's feasible
I guess
too.
my question is, and again, I'm not saying you, Chief.
No, I know.
No, I was just statement that was.
I'm just saying, how do you know that Erica is not going back there and filling up her husband's big SUV? I mean.
Well, you have to have a
how
key
do
to get
we-
into it.
Yeah, it's locked.
Yeah, but, okay, there's, you require
So where's
a
that
key. Okay, but, you know, if I walk back there and, you know, and you just happen to be there and I'm following you in, I mean, how do you know that I didn't go fill up my car back there, is my point.
No, I understand.
Madam Chair. Yes, Ms. Sword.
So, kind of along those lines of what you're saying, I don't know if you recall, but when we were talking about the budget, Ms. Anderson said she gets a bill and she just divides it between Public Works, Fire, and Police. And she has some formula where she takes a percentage and throws it on Public Works and a percentage on Fire and a percentage on Police. Except when it comes to diesel, I don't think she charges the PD.
No, we do not use
No,
diesel.
They don't use
diesel.
any diesel, so the diesel bill, she just divvies up with Public Works and Fire.
Yep,
Okay,
that's true.
So there is no true accounting, and I'm kind of in the camp of, I think, along the lines where I think you're going is, there needs to be some tighter reins on that, and we can
So-
put some kind of
Madam,
card on the
And again, I
Hold on,
just.
let me ask
all
a
I- all
question
I'm-
for clarity.
Listen, I'm not trying to pick a fight, I
No,
promise.
no,
I
these
just-
are good
I'm just
points.
trying to, and again, I used that as the example because that's just one of those things that just kind of, but there's something specific that I'm thinking about.
So is it
Obviously,
security?
it's not that.
Right.
It's something else that I'm
Right.
really specifically thinking about. And before, I just want to know how all of these things work, which is why I didn't say I want to see this report or that report.
No.
Because I want to understand what I'm looking at, because I'm looking at a lot of numbers, and I'm like, mm,
So, are you asking so that we can move forward, so we can keep more of a detailed account of which department, or is it a more of a security?
We're talking. We're just
No,
talking.
I'm trying to figure out which direction so we can solve the problem.
I
Is
don't
it more
think
of a?
that, I don't think that we've identified the problem yet.
That's what I was trying to ask.
So we can't solve it because we haven't really identified it.
Okay.
But and
think-
gas is just the example that I threw out there.
Okay.
And
So-
and you know, I don't
You picked a
think
good one.
Yes, I think we just did identify two problems. One, the security of it, of who all holds the key to have access to that. One. Two, we're trying to figure out how do you know when it's being used, and how, if she goes back there to fill up her cruiser, is she filling up a half a tank, a full tank? What's the usage on her cruiser versus someone else coming back there and filling up their husband's car or something? So you're asking for security reasons, and you're asking for more of a detailed account. So
just want
we
everybody
are-
to know I do not take my husband's car
we
behind
know
me.
that. We're giving examples here, but I think you raise a good point.
I don't even know what
And let me
gas
just
station
say, Rome's not built in a day, and everything, all the problems that we have are not going to be solved
Correct.
in one setting. We're getting two things are on the list, and we're just like, there's a lot of things working on behind the scenes that we're trying to get to, and there's on the list to fix. But it's like you start at the top and you try to trickle down, if that makes sense. Yes,
Madam
Ms.
Chair.
Allison.
Just for clarity, currently, that first screen you showed us was like the full checkbook. The second file was just the monthly expense.
Revenue.
Revenue. And you are saying the next step, quarterly, would be a more detailed account.
So what you get, what I would like for you, if I had my preference. So first of all, let me just say this, Miss Chichester, I apologize in advance, but when I don't always look at your documents, I make sure that Janetta is sending you the right documents. But you did not send those same documents over. I would suggest once we get those documents approved, instead of trying to save them all and remember which ones needs to be included, that you just forward it, because it's missing the document that you sent out is missing the expense balance, and it is also missing the bank statement. So I'm going to default back to that because that helps me, because I was like looking at the documents and I was having a hard time following them all. And so I know that I gave you more documents after Miss Janetta gave you documents too. So there was a culmination of a lot of documents this month. So if I could go back a little bit.
Okay.
This here is our bank account balance. This shows the first page, and this is our beginning balance. So you will see that it matches our monthly reconciliation.
She just pulled it up.
It's still opening. Give it just a second, which is here. Okay? So that's what you want to see. Now, how do you, I will tell you, this document that you're looking at here is a document that somebody Miss Anderson put together so that you can see that it's just an Excel spreadsheet. But if you're wanting to do a checks and balance as to how we got to this place, it would be in the combination of this revenue, which is what I was just showing you. You can see here down at the bottom, this is how much came in.
For 1 month.
For 1 month. Okay? And then you go back to expenses. So every month, you're taking that ending balance at the end. This is end of month. This is the amount that we had in the checking account. And then next month, you'll be able to take what we received and add it to it, and what our expenses were and take it away. And that should give you your own number. Our number should match your number. So in case you want to do the math behind us. And so this is all the expenses. They're itemized. You get to see everything that we paid for, and it's broken up by departments. So if you were looking for a specific charge, or you wanted to like in-depthly go in here and look, you would be able to do so. This hides nothing from you. This gives you every expense that was paid for, whether it be private funds that are not, I'm losing my language right now, but street funds, street levy funds that are separated out from the general fund. It has that in here as well.
Madam Chair. Yes, Ms. Lord. So, Ms. Dukestein, can you help me understand then?
Mm-hmm.
I'm back to the revenue sheet.
Mm-hmm.
So how do we have negative revenue?
Are you here? We don't have, so the number on the spreadsheet, how the parentheses and the number here, this is positive. That's different.
You just said parentheses is negative.
On the other sheet.
On the other
We were on
statement.
the other sheet, not this sheet.
So accounting practices have different practices depending on the sheet you're on.
Well, this is the finance software, and this is how the finance software demonstrated it. If you want me to change it, I didn't create that one.
I just want to make sure I understand what you just said parentheses is negative, so I looked at that and that's why I didn't understand.
You asked specifically on that sheet what it meant for that one, and I said, so that's something we can work on. I will tell you that Miss Anderson is super laser focused on finances. I understand, so I'm trying to help you understand. And my job is to make sure that I answer clarifying questions to get you to a good place of understanding. So I'm answering your question that you asked, and you asked what that number on that sheet represented, and I answered it. On this sheet,
I think Ms. Underwood asked. I didn't ask.
no, well, okay,
Ms. Underwood asked what the parentheses meant.
So
that's fine.
the finance software has dozens of different types of reports, depending on what information you're looking for. So sometimes you could pull up a report that doesn't have a very clear view of things. So we have to comb through different reports to see which ones will give you a more of a overview of what is needed and what we have to be in compliance with reporting. So that one having the parentheses on there does not represent a negative balance. If you're looking at it, it does mislead, but
And that by definition, revenue is the money's brought in, so it has the parentheses around it. This is expenses, so it does not have the parentheses. This is how it's displayed in the finance software. So this is what we spent for the month of January.
Madam Chair,
yes, Ms. Underwood.
I promise.
Do we
I'm-
have that
I'm
explanation?
just, I'm going to, I'm going to meet with Ms. Duxteen for my other questions. Okay, just really interesting question. At the bottom of this report here, it says logged into NCHK Vanderburg as J. Anderson. What does that mean? And why is Ms. Vanderburg's name still on our stuff?
I'm not sure why her name is still there. I don't even know what that means. I can tell you that Miss Vanderburg did not log in. It's probably just something that just ported over into our system because we upgraded into the authority finance that we have now. And so all of that information carries over. And you have to remember, even though Miss Vanderburg is no longer here, if she entered something, we can't just delete it because she entered it.
Right.
When we audit it, we have to be accountable for who entered what and what season or month. So it could be something that she entered that carried over into right now that has to stay on there.
Or it could be a report in a software that she created.
Yeah.
It's just, I'm sorry, Madam Chair.
Did you hear me? It could be a report that she created and it doesn't electronically.
Okay, I think Ms. Duxteen knows how my brain works, but I'm going to explain to you how my brain works. Like, I've been a criminal defense attorney for 30 years, okay? And all I know is that if there's a name here that doesn't really belong here, then that person maybe can, and I'm not saying she will, but
I get what
I've
you're saying.
represented people who were doing payroll for years who did not work at University of Cincinnati, and yet they were cashing University of Cincinnati checks because they were able to log into systems because their names were in places where they didn't belong.
I get
So the questions you get from me are because I've talked to some knucklehead person somewhere who used their powers for evil. And so I'm like, wow, that's why I'm asking that question.
And I would say that, again, thank you for asking the question instead of just assuming that she still has a login. I can assure you that her login is shut down. There are financial records that probably you'll see Miss Iki on. We have to keep those because those are the people who were here and long past me. You'll see some things that I entered as well.
Okay.
Mr. Wilson, I think you were next.
Oh, no, go ahead.
Okay, your
No,
question.
go ahead, I'm cool.
Madam
did not-
Chair.
Give me one second too, because we are still on the, and it's 8:14. We haven't even got to legislation. And we're still on our month-end report that was only supposed to take 10 to 15 minutes.
Sorry.
Yes, Ms. Zorb, go ahead and ask your question so we can then,
So we don't have the report that you just brought up about expenses.
The expense report, yeah,
Yeah.
but I'll be more
So,
than happy.
um,
I'm going to just forward all these documents to you all.
So I guess here's where I'm asking. So I've seen this report. I have it in my hand. It's the open PO report, and it has that $480,000 on it. I haven't seen that come up on any of these documents that we've.
it's at the,
And you're saying that there are no outstanding checks, and yet this is encumbered from December of last year. So I guess I want to know if we've paid this $480,000.
No, we haven't.
So why is it on the books then? Are we going to pay it?
It's not in any of these documents because it's not an expense.
It's
and
an
it's not a
open
source
PO.
of. That's an open PO list that you have.
And
So open POs just means we prospectively may spend this money. It does not mean that we will spend it. It doesn't mean,
world, it doesn't.
okay, well, that's what it means in this world.
In my world, and I am responsible for a $7.6 million budget right now. And in my world, I don't get a PO until I know I'm going to spend it.
well,
That's not how it works
different.
here. And I can actually explain it to you. I have the other document, if you look in the, are you looking at the documents that I gave you? The packet?
I didn't get the doc.
I
Like,
gave
did
it-
you
I
just
gave
send
it-
it now?
I gave a packet out.
Paper packet.
So if you want to focus on the monthly end, we can do that, and then I'll get to your question.
That's
I have
what
no
we need to
problem
focus on.
to
I gotta get the
explain that.
legislation.
In one, in totality.
So you,
I just want to make sure
but
that.
we
you-
never get to the other questions because we run out of time.
And I-
just, it's,
Well, do you want to, I mean,
At the end, when you had questions about the cleanup ordinance I asked you to email, you never sent any emails. So I can't put things on the agenda to address them if you don't
and then
follow up.
if you take the conversation away from the month end, then you utilize time away from being able to understand the month end. I just want to make sure, I forwarded all these documents to you. You have this EOM is the end of month balance. That's what you're looking at. You'll be able to see the consistency and anything in blue. You'll be able to see the positive numbers. Those are all reports driven from our software to help you understand the balance between accounts. This is a more general page, the end of the month for the year 2025, month 1. So if you have any questions or concerns about those documents or how they measure up, you can look at the bank statement. That gives you a hard number to be able to put to our bank statement. And the only report that we didn't get to was this one. And this is the expense balance summary for the same month. So this gives you the expenses out of each line that was accounted for in the month of January.
excuse me.
Bless you.
Thank you.
All right.
So the fire levy legislation, I just wanted to talk about it for a little bit. It'll be very quick. I'm not trying to move your meeting along, but if
I was trying to move it along,
Okay.
but go ahead.
I want to make sure that we get to this 1,500 thing. I would love to put that to rest. But the fire levy is in lieu. The millage is the same. We are just in process of renewing it. I have put the legislation renewed in the hands of Chief Plackey so that he can review it. And from there, you all should have it in your documents. You guys need to look at it and just make sure, and then we can send it over to council floor. It just says our intent is to renew the levy and put it on the 2025, November 2025 ballot.
Madam Chair.
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, sorry. Owed me.
Wait a minute, let me ask one question. So, as, just for clarification for procedure, we all at the Budget and Finance Committee need to sign it and then send it over to Mike and Christian on the agenda. Okay.
Yep.
Madam Chair.
Fire
There's
levy legislation, piece of legislation that was sent out to you, at least I believe it
It's in,
was.
yep, it's in your documents.
I'm staring at it, but I didn't think we, as a finance committee, we don't sign this. We sign it as council when
Right.
everyone's there.
That's what.
And we don't sign it.
trying to
that
send it.
Hedger.
Hedger actually fills those
But-
names in,
yes.
sorry.
Can I get to the question, because you keep talking about time? So, it says on here that the fourth whereas says that council received in 2025, we received the county auditor's certificate saying how much money. We haven't received that.
I'm sorry, which one is that?
You said the fourth one?
Yeah. It says on blah, 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 2025, council received the county auditor's certification on the amounts described. I thought we were supposed to get a dollar amount that says how much this would bring in. how much this levy would bring in, an estimated dollar amount. We don't have
It's
that.
the same dollar amount because it's the same millage. We're just renewing it. We're not,
The millage is based on property values,
Mm-hmm.
and our property values have changed since this originally was brought to us. So
But
it's
the
not going to be the same.
the renewal part of it, this is just shows our intent. If you want to table it and put it on next month, that's fine.
I don't. I just want the documents that we
But
need to
we're not
do
in a
this.
rush. I can get you the document if that's what you need. That's fine. I just put it out there because he sent it to me, so I sent it to you, so you guys can start talking about it.
Yeah.
I'll even go so far as to say, when the very first time this passed, the county auditor told us how much money we would get. I'm going to make up numbers now because I don't remember the exact numbers. It was 5 years ago. But let's just say it was $12 million. And that was, I'm using 12, but I'm sure it's wrong. So let's say it was 12 million for a 12 mil levy. At that time, during that process, everyone's property value went up, and we only needed to pass a 10 mil levy to meet the presentation for the fire levy. So I can tell you for sure that these dollar numbers are not the same that they were 5 years ago.
No, what I was referring to was the same, was the renewal. I already
The millage is the same. The dollar amounts are not the same.
Yes, the millage is the same. I have already emailed Hamilton County auditors. I am waiting for them to give me that report back. If you
I
all,
thought that was formal legislation that council has to, I thought that was part of the three-step process.
the part of the three-step process, this is the first part, to just show intent. He may have added that in there, which is fine. I can make sure that you can leave it here in committee. It's okay for a piece of legislation to be on the committee calendar from 1 month to another. I will make sure that when I get the document from Hamilton County, that I attach it with this for your review for the month of April.
There is one other point that I'd like to make. So there's verbiage in here that talks about, and now I can't remember where I found it, but it mentions something about temporary, where is it? It mentions temporary employees also. So is the levy now going to cover full-time and part-time? Because that's a change also.
He did not change. He told me that everything was the same. I don't have a copy of the original one to compare it to, but this is literally just date changes, according to Ryan LaFlemme, who is the one who processed this. But I'll double check that to make sure, because I'm not prepared to answer that question today.
It's in section 1.
Okay. I will ask.
It says for the payment of firefighting companies or permanent, part-time, or
And you're
volunteer
saying
firefighting.
Which
that
one
that
are you
was
looking
not
at? Are
in
you
our
looking for the
original,
intent?
I'm looking at the
10 mil.
levy.
No, are you
Levy.
looking at the intent? Because that's the only thing we're supposed to not, because we broke it up into three different, for the first one is going to be the intent. And then it's going to be, we look at the levy, because what I sent out in the agenda is the letter to the intent. Because I'm looking at section 1 and I'm not seeing where you're reading that, where exactly in section 1 is this?
It's the top of the next page. I mean, I only have the documents that you sent, so
Right.
I have to be.
But I know sometimes you have things that before we were here and you
Nope,
compare.
I'm looking at the document that you sent to me.
I want to make sure that that's the right
Yeah,
document,
I
because it
don't-
might be I sent her both of them. I want to make sure she sent the right one.
I'm looking at the one I put the highlights on. It said a resolution declaring the city's intent to proceed with renewing a tax levy in excess of the 10 mil limitation pursuant to section 5705.19, parentheses, I of the Ohio Revised Code.
It's the only copy I have, the one you sent.
That's the only one I got.
No, you got two of them.
I got two, but I don't have my flash drive where the other one is. This one I pulled directly from my email.
Right, but if you
Where
got
they-
both of them at the same time, you want to make sure that you got the
Oh.
right one.
You want me to bring my laptop over, or?
No, that's okay. I can look at it. Reason my sent email's not coming up.
Okay, so do we need to table this so we can,
Well, I at least want to make sure that you all have the right document. Because I know that I sent them to you both at the same time, and we talked about which one needed to be sent.
'Cause I didn't want to
just
put
wanna
both on
confirm
the-
that they have the right one.
Madam
I didn't
Chair,
want to put both on the agenda for the same thing since they are different.
Madam Chair,
Yes, Ms.
I think we probably need to, because if that document, and I hate that I don't have my
Yes.
computer, if that document says that we were supposed to receive something else, we need to have that something else.
Exhibit A.
Yeah, because
Yeah,
he
that
said,
Exhibit A.
he literally
Well, then I'll send
said,
it back to,
You know, we can't
Who's it
just
go back?
brush
Christian?
over, you know, and
Bill?
say we know what it says if it says, hey, we're supposed to receive
no,
that.
I definitely think you
we
should.
got time for these. That's why I was
Right.
breaking them up into parts instead of putting it together. So we definitely have
Right.
time in order to get it out. So let's table the fire legislation.
Chair, right before we table it, I was looking here trying to find it, and on the website, the fire levy hasn't been updated since 22. So will that be updated so that citizens can see how this is going to impact them, if there is going to be any impact at all?
I
It
think
shouldn't
that
be an
is-
impact to the citizens.
It's a renewal.
Okay.
So-
Pending anyhow.
Yeah.
Okay, cool beans.
So you have two of them. Well, I sent Ms. Chichester two of them. And one is titled Fire Levy Renewal Resolution to Proceed, and then Fire Renewal Resolution of Necessity. Which one document do you have? What's the name of the document that you have? Do you have necessity?
Proceed.
So that's what's happened. You got the second one.
Okay.
So that's the reason
But
why I
that's
was
the
caught
one with
off.
the highlighted marks I thought we were gonna.
No, you needed to send the necessity. We're establishing the need. So that was what happened.
I'm sorry, I thought
apologize.
we were establishing intent and
Nope.
the need. Okay.
It is the
That was
necessity.
my misunderstanding. I thought we were doing intent first.
So the resolution declaring the necessity of renewing the tax levy. So I was a little taken aback because Ms. Zor brought to the attention about the millage. So I had already requested that, but that was supposed to be on next month's, not this month's, once we get through this. Because I told her, just send them both, and then we'll talk about the one that we need. But then we talked about the necessity is the one that you need first. So this is just declaring why it is that we need it. I was prepared to talk about why we needed the fire levy renewal, and we need it because we need to support our firefighters and to support the city in being able to fund our fire department. I will tell you that the fire department does really good at not leaning on our budget in totality. So they have about 33% absorbency on our budget, which is very healthy. We need to stay in that range in order to keep growing. For a very long time, our city operated in a space of scarcity. And so we're no longer in a space of scarcity, but we are not pulling completely out of this. We're not over here just spending money everywhere. We need to continue the levy to make sure that our fire department is equipped well and that they have their uniforms that they needed. It subsidizes the payroll off of the general fund and all of those kinds of things. So the document that you guys should have received should have been the one declaring the necessity. What I would ask is that you take this, Ms. Chichester will forward you the appropriate document, and then you review the document talking about necessity. The one that Ms. Zorb is referring to, that is the one that comes secondary. And yes, there should be some additional paperwork attached to that. So my email to Hamilton County was to do just that, to make sure that you had those two documents together. Okay?
Question.
Sure.
So if we get the response from Hamilton County at the next budget and finance, could we put them both on there? Discuss
I think
it
you
then?
guys should just focus on one at a time.
Break it down into 3 parts?
Mhm.
Okay. So do we want to discuss the Iron Mountain? Did Mr. Hedger get back to you with the explanation on that? Or you
Mr.
should we
Hedger
have
did
it?
get back to me with the explanation on that. And so what this is, and the reason I asked that this come back into committee is because although I'm okay with the amount, it is the responsibility of the clerk to upload the stuff, but Mr. Hedger is asking administration to help him with that. I will tell you right now, Ben Torrey, who's our admin assistant, is working diligently for with the rental registrations. He just doesn't have capacity. So what he had said was maybe we can have a volunteer day, and I'm happy to come and assist, even if it's on a Saturday, just as a citizen volunteer. I don't know how that works. I will be happy to help you all. But to ask on a volunteer base for one of the city employees to come in and help you all, that really should be you all who's helping Mr. Hedger cipher through those documents, deciding what to keep and what not to keep. So he's put in the legislation that administration help. That would be during the day, during their regular work hours, or unless you're asking them to come overtime on a Saturday. Which is a really big ask for people who work really hard throughout the week. So I'm bringing to your attention that I would like to have that part of it removed, and that we work out something else for you all to come in, even if it's during the week. I mean, there has to be a block of time. He can't do it by himself. And I have no problem to come in.
Madam Chair.
Madam Chair.
Who was first? Is that
Ms. Alexander was.
Is there some training involved? Because I don't want to just throw away because I get to shred and whatever. I mean, how would we know?
The first thing we would need is the records retention policy.
Yes.
Yeah,
And so that's the other part of it, if I could speak to it. You're asking then that the administrative staff be trained on your policies on how to retain your information.
It's a citywide records retention policy. It's not a council.
I
records
agree, but like Ben, he doesn't hold on, like those decisions are made in finance and HR, and I make those decisions. Ben doesn't make those decisions, but he would be probably the person slated to come and help you all.
so how would we know?
I can't make the finance person. I can't make these
Yeah,
people.
me, I'm just going to put me in it. How would I know what to keep and what not to keep?
Like she said, you'd have to go through the records retention policy, and you'd have to be educated on that.
So it would be a training first.
Probably just, you can go through you could pull the records retention policy and read it. Mr. Hedger is your clerk. He's the one that's supposed to take care of those kinds of things. But I will say in his defense, this is a super tall task.
Yeah, I'm sure.
So I'm just trying to help him get it taken care of.
And so this is the step before we get in it digitalized. So what our ask is, basically, will council volunteer to do the training and help with this?
I think that's
Or
what she
are we,
said.
yeah, or we're approving overtime for the employees to do it?
Okay.
They don't have to elect overtime. They don't
Right.
have to take it.
Well, I mean, are we asking if they're willing, not saying we know we can't make it mandatory, but are we asking if they are interested in it, or is it more of a volunteer?
If for the salaried employees, it would be just additional support to you all. But that this is a council task.
Okay.
So I'm saying, for me, I don't mind helping. I will be a body, whatever day you choose to help.
Ms. Underwood?
Why are we throwing away anything?
I don't think we're throwing it away. I think he wants help.
Either way, whether you throw it away or not, he needs support
Yes,
to box
this is
up
our
the stuff.
support to getting it digitalized. So,
Okay,
so, yeah.
all right. And Ms. Zorb, you can help me
What does that
here
look
because
like?
I'm really,
Correct.
we're paying this company to digitize these records for us. And yet, before we give them to digitize them, we have to go through them first.
Are we just packing? What are we doing?
Madam Chair.
I mean, we're paying them a lot of money to do this, and you're trying to tell me they can't just scan everything in, and then after it's scanned in, then we can look at it? I mean, okay, help me
Madam
out.
Chair.
Somebody help me out.
Erica, you and I are on the same page. If we're not throwing anything away and everything is being scanned in, can the company come in and scan everything in, and then whatever needs to be deleted, then we have access to it digitally. But my original question is, what is the timeline? What does that look like? If all of us came in and we volunteered our time to do this, is this a one-day project? Is it how many weekends are we looking at to get all of these documents in?
Madam Chair.
I think we may need to organize, am I correct, before we send things over to be digitalized. It is, I guess, our responsibility to organize what we want and see, because it may be something in there that we may not want to keep if it's like, yeah, something that's not important.
So this
Who's
company
next?
doesn't come and scan the stuff in, they just house it? Is that what I'm understanding?
No, they scan
We used
it.
to use it at the hospital. We used Iron Mountain at the hospitals forever, back in the 90s. And we never had to organize. We gave it to them.
And they took care of it.
They indexed it. Or maybe we just took the bottom basic package. Maybe that's what we did, and we didn't get the deluxe package where they would do it.
I think what it came to.
Madam Chair, I'm sorry, that's what I was going to
I was going to
suggest.
say, when it comes to chart maintenance, when you're doing a hospital, it's really by patient, so it really doesn't matter which order. So if you have a file, you have a file. So as long as it's your file and your two files are not mixed in, everything can get scanned in. It doesn't need to go in any particular order.
Had to go in the chronological order and
Right.
film, and
Right.
they do have.
So,
to
but then
order.
the hospital already outlined a chart organization, chart order. So in this part, your progress notes. In this part, you get your operations report. And then this part, you got,
Hey, how it went.
that ain't how it went. So you just gave them everything and they.
Yeah, because we had files that was just files, and we just gave it to them, and they did it.
No, I'm not saying you put the files in order, but you gave them a order so they could look at what forms what and knew what
Okay.
order to put it in.
Why can't we just give them everything, have them scan it all in?
Here, I'll tell you why.
Then, no?
He says, I'm going to tell you why.
Madam Mayor, but go ahead. Go ahead.
It says, so I asked Christian Hedger for clarity. He says, sure, we would like administration and council to work together on sorting, filtering, and organizing documents. So what they need, they don't have the ability to sort for us.
Okay, I agree. Why can't we have them scan everything in and we can sort it on the computer instead of we're looking through pieces
And
of
that's
paper?
That's fair. Ask Christian that, because he's the one who, and I'm not.
I don't think it's okay. I'm sorry. I'm not trying to give you a hard time. It's not up to Christian. We are not coming in here and sorting paper. I'm not doing that. I don't know if anybody. No.
You
Madam
can
Chair.
also
Don't have to
pay
hold on, Madam
to
Mayor was
have the
next.
stuff sorted. I've been through two phases.
We're not
of-
gonna pay overtime for people to sort paper.
No,
We
no,
are
no.
paying
What
a
I
company
mean,
to
paying
scan
the
it.
company. That's what I mean. I'm saying you guys can pay to have. I've been through 2 digitizations in the different organizations,
sorry,
and
I
the
just-
first time
okay.
that I went through it, they weren't really offering the sort factor to digitizing things. You can probably go back a higher quote and they will do that for you. A company can do that for you. Then you just have to go back to Christian Hedger and tell him, hey, what can we secure a company, if not the
Upgrade.
same company, or an upgrade
That's
to
why-
do that. But that's why I put it out here for you all to talk about, so you can kind of decide where you want to go with that. And somebody can follow up with an email. And I don't mind if you guys decide. I'll be the person to come and help, but I do not feel like it's fair to put that on them.
Yeah,
Right.
that's why we
Yeah,
brought it
I
back,
agree.
because if we would have voted on it in council, the language that was written said that the administration would help with that. So, Madam Mayor, I'm sorry, you've been
No,
trying to say.
That's okay. I was just going to suggest the same. We use a company at the school district that takes it, sorts it, files it for us. They do all the legwork. So, to what a few of you said, the company, now we don't use Iron Mountain, so I'm not sure what their policies are, but I'm sure they do have that service as well.
So, does council want to look at other options?
Madam Chair,
Yes, Ms. Underwood?
seriously, we got so many documents that they can't scan everything in, and we can't go through and figure out how to I will help if we have it's digitized. I don't understand why they can't digitize everything. I don't understand.
Call it a day.
I'm just, somebody please explain
Madam
that to
Chair.
me.
We would have to ask Mr. Hedger. He has
It's
the
not up to
contract.
him. I
No,
like you, Christian,
you're
I
asking
promise.
what the
But it's
company-
not up to him.
No,
It's up to us.
He researched the
Chair.
company, he brought the contract back to us, and I am not 100% on what their capabilities, what their packaging could be. But I know what we're paying them, and I'm thinking for the price that we're paying them, that
They can scan everything.
we should just, there you go.
It
But-
sounds like you need to ask
Sorry,
Mr.
Ms.
Hedger to find a new company,
That's what I was thinking.
or ask
Madam
that company if they will do.
Yeah.
Ms. Zoll.
Calling on me. I will reach out to Mr. Hedger tonight, depending on his availability, either tonight or tomorrow. We'll figure it out,
Yeah,
and we'll get back. And the other thing that I want to point out is, this is only for council's documents.
Right.
This isn't like all the finance documents, this isn't all the police reports, this is council's stuff.
Okay,
So it's got, that's
So-
exactly where I'm going with this. This has to be like committee minutes, committee agendas, council minutes, council agendas.
Can't be that-
That, it
that-
can't
it
be
can't
as
be that
big
very
as,
extensive.
that,
so,
yes.
Ms. Zorb,
I agree
two
with
things.
you, yes.
Ms. Zorb, two things when you reach out to Mr. Hedger. Detail what their Iron Mountain's capabilities are.
Yep.
And then to have him look at, Ms. Nichols, did you have the name of the other company?
He had 3 bids.
It's a
We
whole
can,
program that we use, and so they offered multiple services. So I'm not sure if,
he's already established a relationship with 3 companies. I'll have him look at all 3 again.
So,
Madam
But I
Chair,
can get
can
it
I give
to
a
you.
suggestion?
Yes, Mr. Cheney?
Because we are going through records retention now and disposing what Ms. Zorb said and made a very good point, that we have a good records retention policy, and if you follow that, you'll find probably a lot of stuff that you won't need to scan in because it will be allowed to be destroyed.
I don't think that's the question. The question is really who's going to go through that and
Well, if it's
look at
boxed,
what's-
if it's boxed up properly, it shouldn't take that long, quite
it's not
honestly.
boxed up properly.
I wasn't going to say it. I'm glad
Madam
you
Chair.
said it.
It's a problem.
Who was Ms. Gaston? I think she.
But there's also specific
I'm done.
forms that you have to go through. So I recommend going to Ohio History Connections, because there's a couple forms by law that we as a municipality have to fill out to destroy documents. There's RC2, RC1, and RC3 forms that have to be filled out. Even if you keep them, you have to fill out one of those forms. So we're going through this whole process now because there's literally documents in our basement from like 1950 that was dropped off here that we don't need anymore. So we're trying to get rid of them.
Can you repeat that again? You say it was the Ohio, I got the IC2, IC1.
Ohio History Connection.
History Connection.
Yeah, that's the website. They kind of, it's ohiohistory.org is where you'll find it. But they kind of regulate what you can and what forms you need to destroy stuff and to keep. So just to help you
I
guys.
think the task at hand of who's going to go through those forms and decide what to keep, I don't think is,
You're on your own there because we have enough work.
I understand.
Madam
Okay.
Chair, I promise, I'm gonna leave it alone
No.
after this, because we're going in circles. This is just council's documents, right? Why can't we scan them all in?
And
And
then
then
do it.
figure out what we want to do with them, okay? We can keep them or not keep them or whatever. I just don't see the need for us to come here and go through piece by piece.
I agree. I don't have that capacity, so.
Absolutely can do that. I'm not going to. Like, let me be clear. I am not doing that. Not paying overtime. It's not necessary.
You're
We're
right.
paying a company to digitize it. Let them digitize it, and then we'll figure it out from there. Like,
So. I agree.
I think
You
it's a
guys don't-
cost. The cost goes up per how many sheets you scan. If you look in that contract, it actually spells out that the cost is per the sheets you have to scan.
Madam Chair.
how much could it possibly be? Seriously,
I mean,
it's
you
just
guys
us,
are already-
right?
I mean, I don't know. I've never been on the finding the money part of it, but I'll tell you, it's already at what, $11,000.
We need to
We
go
already
back to the.
approved it.
Excuse me,
You
we
did
need to
not
just
already
go
approve it.
back.
It's just you need to table the legislation.
Yes.
Okay.
No.
Madam Chair. May I please?
Yes, Ms. Zorb.
Ms. Dukestein, could you please, I know, per the charter, the records retention policy people have to meet every year. So could you please send us the very most current record retentions policy?
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
No problem.
So, after review the policy, no. Let me just like table the,
I'm pretty sure all of our files are in the file cabinets back there. We're done.
okay.
There's files down.
Okay, I said that was gonna be my last comment,
I'm
but
gonna
seriously,
move on.
if they're charging $11,000 to scan just what's in that one file cabinet, I'm in the wrong business, for sure.
We've said that before.
So
Madam Chair, there are documents at 1,500 in the file cabinet as well.
File cabinet. So yeah, Ms. Zorb,
Madam
reach
Chair.
out to,
I'm on it.
thank you.
Ma-
Okay,
Madam Chair.
Yes.
I just got a question. Are we talking about old documents?
yes.
Oh, okay.
Well,
He
it's
said
going to
from-
depend on how old
Yeah.
on that records retention policy.
Yes,
And
ma'am.
then we
No, I
still
was
got
just
stuff
saying,
she
but,
said at
but,
1,500,
but
so
what we're referring to is documents that we already have.
On
Right.
up to the present.
Right,
They
okay.
gotta be reserved. They
Yeah, but
can't be
we,
destroyed.
Madam Chair, okay, I'm gonna give you a for example. You know, when we're looking back at legislative history, like when did the legislation change? When did it change here? When did it change there? If everything is scanned in, then we can see those things. So it shouldn't just be about like if somebody comes to ask to see it, just for the people who will sit in these chairs after us, like trying to go back and see
Yes.
when a piece of legislation changed or the last time the charter was changed and what changed about it is like very difficult to do. That's why I just think we should just keep everything. Because I'm sure we don't have everything that we need, but we probably need everything that we have. Just, you know, again, we are all, I can tell you, I'm not going to be sitting up here forever, but, you know, just not, we
So
should,
You're suggesting just give them everything, move forward. We don't need to follow up with any other companies or any other ask and
I don't
just,
think so. I think that we need everything that we have.
Okay.
And the reason we need it is because we need to see the legislative history of things. We need to
Right.
know how things changed, when they changed, why they changed. We need to know that.
does anybody else agree or anybody else disagree?
I agree with
I
Erica.
agree. Okay. Then we don't need to table it for the next meeting. Then we can,
We can just amend that section out of
Yep.
it.
Okay. I have to send it back to, well, we can do it on council floor as
We
amended.
have to, we've already had a reading on it.
Yep. Well, you could table it and just bring another piece of legislation back, which it might be easier, so you can just, instead of amending it, approve it at one time. Whichever, I don't care, it's your jam.
so that way we not asking administration to do anything extra and we can move on from it and get it taken care of.
So the Electrata is the next thing on here. I sent this to you, Ms. Chichester, but I do not see it in your documents that you sent out to them. So I would suggest
Oh.
if
It's there.
It's there.
Okay.
It's
Do we,
the,
wait. What, okay, yeah, it's there. I saw it.
it's the one
Friday
with the
the
pie
7th.
chart, I think, you guys.
I don't see it here.
Oh,
This is
well.
sent out, Budget and Finance Committee agenda and supporting documents.
City report,
I saw it.
host report, Q4. It's labeled something else.
It's not in this, did you send it in a separate email?
North College
It's in the same email.
2024.
Oh, here it is.
It's
Thank
there.
you. I apologize.
I'm like,
I'm sorry.
I'm losing it, but I ain't losing it all the
Okay.
way. Because
So
that one I
this,
like.
this is the Electrata. This is the electrical port over there, just in case you guys are thinking, hey, we don't get that usage. So this is right here. It tells Q4 of 2024. So that's the last 3 months of 2024, and this is how much usage it gives. I asked Ms. Anderson, which she was not able to give me. She was super busy today. I asked her on Friday, but she just didn't get to it. But it is so that you can see exactly how much we're making here. I'll report that next month. And this is a source of income that we rarely see. You probably are not seeing it on the line, but I felt like you should know because we are getting some income as it relates to this, and the usage goes up a lot in the like you see Sunday it's pretty low, Wednesday it's high, Saturday it's super high, and so just that. You can look through those documents if you have any questions for me. If you don't want to put it back on the agenda, I can send out that information via email, but I just thought it was something nice for you guys to know. This is kind of the kilowatts deployed, the trees saved, lifetime on gas savings, all of this stuff. Pretty interesting.
Ms. Dukestein, I'd like to put it back on there just as an update so we could get the answer to those questions.
Okay.
Madam Chair.
Yes, Ms. Orb.
So I tried to look at this the other day, and are you telling me there's revenue somewhere on here? 'Cause
No,
that's-
not on the document.
It's not on
I
here.
was going
That's what the
I'm
question
going to
was.
show you that, isolate the
All right.
line item and tell you what that is.
Perfect.
And
Can I
now,
just point out that I've asked for this kind of report ever since those stinking things went in, and I've never gotten this report, so thank you.
thank you.
No.
So, the beloved 1,500. All right, so the first thing I wanted to point out, you have a packet in front of you. What I would ask is I was looking at the documents. So the first thing is homework for you guys. One is look at the documents that I forwarded to you. Those are the finance documents that you should have. Please send me emails. Look, take the liberty of actually looking at what you have and what you're being provided for and decipher whether you need more or less so that we can provide that. I think when you put all those documents together, it gives you revenue, it gives you expenses, it gives you a breakdown per the account, and it gives you the amount. Like, I give you a screenshot of what the bank sends us. I scanned the first sheet of the bank statement in, so that you can see there is no hiding anything. Everything, all the expenses are there, all the revenue is there, and that's broken down month by month. You can follow the account balance month by month. You should be able to add in the expenses, add in the revenues, take away the expenses, and get your number the same as ours month by month. And then on a quarterly basis, we'll do a deep dive in where we are, how much we're spending. So look at those documents, send back the emails, even so that we can come back each month and make sure that you're getting, this should not be confusion every month. You should have some clarity and some transparency to seeing what is being spent and what is not. I'm not trying to hide anything. I just need to know what you want to see so that I can deliver that. I think what you have is a really good start. But if you want more, please let me know. Okay, so I have this exhibit up. So I'm going to talk through some things with papers you have in front of you. And you can look at this kind of chart that I put together. So Ms. Zorb was asking about a PO, a list of POs that were delivered in the month of December. One is, and I'll show you in the packet of information you have, is this sheet right here. It's Exhibit A1. And it gives a breakdown, and I have most of what is on here up here as well. It gives the public works, garage door, the senior center, HVAC repairs, and so on. To date, when this piece of legislation, this is the exhibit that was passed with the piece of legislation that you have here. These two go together. This is how the money that was encumbered based on this sheet. Okay? So the big ask is, well, I'll go through all of it, but the paid amount was the public works garage doors. We had already paid out that PO. A PO in this world is just the potential spending. You will create a PO even if we think we're going to spend it. The way that we had to legally encumber the money was we had to PO out the entire $820,529.34. We had to encumber that. Encumbering that means we had to PO out these amounts. Okay, so that's why I gave you a list of how we potentially could spend that $820,000. Okay, so the first thing you see on there, that doesn't mean that we will spend it or we haven't spent it. An example of that is on what I have up here on the screen, and that is this line here. We put on this list that it was $892,000. Yeah, 92. I'm tired, y'all. $89,892. I said it right. Okay. So when we did that, it came back that we only needed to spend $54,866, and I included that invoice in this paperwork. Okay. So you'll see it broken out over to the side here. This is what we were planning to encumber. This is what we actually spent. So this amount here is below the spending limit. I don't need to come back to you to ask you anything. So what we did was we attached it down here, which the original amount was North College Hill administrative offices, and I'm going to show you, it's 1,500 slash splash pad. So 1,500 is built with a bunch of different things that we need to get done. We need to get the asbestos removed. If you guys decide to repair the building, we can use it towards that. If we don't decide to repair the building and we get this and we need to put the fire hydrant in, then we can use it for that. if we need to put we need another covering over our salt, we can use it for that. The PO simply expresses that these are the items that we could potentially use the money for. Those amounts have not yet been determined because you all have not given me direction on which way to spend the money, other than the cleanup, which I am reporting that as well. If I only abate the asbestos, that is definitely not $480,000. But if I abate the asbestos and you all decide that you want to rehabilitate the building, I have to bring that same crew back and remediate the mold, because the same people who remediate mold remediate asbestos. And they come with the hazmat suits on and to get rid of that building. So I paused. Remember I said I wanted to schedule this by February, no later than March. Nothing's been scheduled. The reason is because I know that I can, if do you want to spend double the money if you decide to rehabilitate the building, you guys need to make a decision on whether you need to whether you want to rehabilitate the building. I can provide you with all of the other quotes. I've even gotten some since then. The sticks and the bones of that building are healthy and good. The decision really lies on you all, whether you want to rehabilitate the building. So wait, let me finish this document because I don't want to go in. I just want to make sure that you guys understand this thing, because you keep putting it, people are putting it out there as though $480,000 is yet to be spent, that I'm going to spend that money. It's encumbered. It's not spent. It just encapsulizes a whole bunch of spendings that we could, because at the end, I came in December the 2nd. This money from 2023, 24, even money we received in 22, 23, and 24 had not been encumbered. So I had from December the 2nd to December the 16th to decide how we were not going to lose $860,000. So the criticism that is involved in this is hurtful, because I did my best to make sure that we would not lose the money and that we would have a gamut of things that we could spend it on, so that we would cover a bunch of different projects. If you guys want to unencumber the money and give $480,000 back, that's fine. Just tell me to do that. But the way that I put it on here, I went with I had a bunch of different contractors come out. In the midst of this 2-week span, I was putting out a budget. I was putting out a salary ordinance. there was a lot of things to take care of. And so I had a bunch of contractors come out and evaluate. It has to be one that can cover a gamut of a large myriad of things to take care of. That means if we want them to put in a fire hydrant, we can. So then you ask me, what about the bids? We did not have time to get bids. So I called ARPA and I double checked with them. Hey, this is the situation our city is in. We're trying to keep the money. What do we need to do? They said, you don't have time. What you need to do is write a manager's report, and you need to deliver it so that every time you spend, I haven't spent a dime. We have to report on this money by March the 16th. I haven't done anything. So if you look here, the senior HVAC repairs, I will tell you that has not happened yet. The PD asbestos remediation, although it has happened and this money has been put against what is here, you will see that. I just didn't have the amount to put in there today because it hadn't hit the end of month. The PD wall repairs, that has also been completed. The roof repairs, for PD, that has been completed. The senior roof repairs, that's now been completed. Nothing's been done here. The salaries, we're using or absorbing the $210,000 as we pay out for public works. This PW stands for public works salaries. So are there any questions about this?
Madam Chair.
Yes, Ms. Gaston.
First of all, I want to say thank you for coming in December 2nd and working on this. I don't think that I could have done a job at Hamilton County or here in such a short amount of time and stayed calm, cool, and collected. So I want to first say thank you. With that being said, I cannot speak for our citizens, but I think the confusion was not knowing that all of those funds were encumbered, and with it having it labeled as going to one specific spot, that was very confusing. And so there was an understanding, well, there was a thought that the 480 was going to one company, period.com, because everyone is asking what's going on with 1500. And when that was seen, eyebrows were raised. So again, that clarifies a lot. I can't speak for everybody, but it clarifies a lot for me.
I will say that to speak to what she's asking. This is the legislation. This is the exhibit. When it was put in your packet and distributed, these were together. So the only thing that changed was we took the Senior Roof Center and the residual monies down here and put them there, more in that general bucket, so that we could use the money. But again, I am not trying to do anything wrong. If you guys want to unencumber the money, that just means we have to give it back. And I'm just telling you what it is.
Ms. Dukestein,
Yes.
so you said someone came in, looked at the building, and you said the bones and the structure of it is good.
I had to have them come out and reassess because the winter months and the extreme weathers have caused it to get worse. So I will tell you that the more the quotes that we have now, they're elevated or more than they were because it's worse.
That
Madam
was
Chair.
gonna be my point.
But I will tell you that the sticks and bones of the building is better. So what I need to do, and I have one quote where the demolishing of the building. First of all, you would be tearing down a building that has good skeletal system.
Yeah.
Framework. The building was built in a time era where children would be in the hallways with books over their head as a bomb shelter. That building is rock solid. You can look it up for yourselves. However, if you demolish the building, we can demolish the building, tear it down, use this money to demolish the building, and then we have nothing. That's fine too. If that's what you want to do.
Mr.
Madam
Wilson.
Chair, yes, I just wanted to bring to this committee, attention that we had discussed this prior in 2024, and I remember this committee agreeing that we wanted to remodel that property. I remember making a motion for the city administrator at the time because we had the I think Ms. Chamberlain was in and I remember making a motion to have her take a look at what it would take for her to get for her to get us to the point where we will move forward on our ideal of revamping that building, because we'd already came to an understanding that it was just out of our pockets for us to tear it down and sit there with nothing on it.
So before you all go into that, I just want to bring one concern up about this sheet that's here. So at the end of the year, Chief Cheney can vouch for this. If there are any POs that are still open, we create POs all the time because people are questioning the nature of a PO. If you think you're going to do it, you create a PO for it. If there are any POs open at the end of the year, Ms. Anderson sends out a note, or our finance manager will send out a note and say, hey, these are POs that are open. You never use them. Can we close them? And we do.
So
True?
Correct.
in my world, I create POs, say if I'm gonna buy T-shirts, and I know I'm just gonna cost $500. So I create a PO for $500, but I don't pay that PO until I receive the invoice from the company that I actually purchased the.
And so until a decision is made.
Yeah.
So what I want to make sure that you are clear of is I only encumbered the money to give council an opportunity to make a decision.
I think this has been going on, and the longer we wait, the higher the price is gonna go up, no matter which way we sway, and bids and quotes and things are only gonna be good for so long. I
And-
want to ask committee here, council here. Let me get my verbiage correct. What questions do you need answered in order to make a decision?
And the one thing that I will say, keep in mind, regardless of whether you are on the rehabilitation side or not, this building isn't ours. I will tell you that there are a whole host of programs that can happen in this building to bear this city resources and money that we can't utilize. One, mainly because of the way this you all are not here. But this setup has to stay here, and Public Works has to constantly come back in order to even just rent it out, or even if we weren't renting it out, just the seniors, expansion of their programs, grants that are out there that Miss Colleen and I want to apply for. Miss Clear wants to do things during the week. We can't do that because we're occupying the space. The space is not even sufficient for you. It creates a safety barrier. So whether you choose to rehabilitate that building or not, this is not our permanent home. We have to figure out some other place to be and go. It's not even effective and efficient for the offices. I'm over here with in the front. Ben's over here in the front. Miss Anderson and the other ladies are back here. Miss Clear is over here with building and code. And then Bill Knight. I mean, we're disjuncted. It's a safety issue. I mean, I could go on and on. I know this building is being brought to code, and Miss Clear has done a wonderful job of making sure that those things get pushed down the road. However, this is not a permanent space for us.
So
We don't even have enough room for all of our records.
I want to start with Ms. Underwood. What questions do you need answered in order to make a decision, so that we can prepare and get those Ms. Dukes things can get them?
You can email me.
You can
Okay.
email. So I
So,
guess we're going, if y'all, because we're
Again, at the risk of going down a rabbit hole, we encumber, we voted to encumber the funds, right? And we gave administration permission to spend it, right? No?
No, we didn't.
No.
Okay, I'm just.
That's not what encumber
I'm
means.
okay,
Well,
I'm trying to understand
We
it.
put money in a bucket, that's all we
Yes.
did.
we put money in the bucket to
And-
say this is what the intended use for.
And so we asked the administration, I made a motion to have the administration to review what our intentions, because like I said, this committee had came to an understanding that we wanted to rehab 1,500 because we knew it just wasn't feasible for us to tear it down and leave it empty. That was the biggest argument, was that the building was still had great shape for it. It was still in good condition for us to use it. We just had to rehab, fix the problems, so that way we can get back into the building. So that was agreed upon. Then I made the motion for Ms. Chamberlain to do what she needed to do as far as the funds, because the funds were the issue and whatnot. And so all of that stuff was put into that motion, and we already agreed to that. So now we're back at the table of, well, what are we going to do with the building? But I thought we already agreed that we was going to move with the
Madam Chair.
renovation of
Madam
it.
Chair?
We still going down the line.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're still going down the line.
Okay.
Did we skip Mr. Davis? I'm sorry.
Oh, Ms.
Okay.
Miss Underwood
Wait.
didn't say.
All right.
what-
Yeah, she
Okay,
didn't
so-
say nothing. Yeah.
Okay, all right, I'm just trying to understand, because it said appropriate and encumber. Okay, so,
Appropriate actually does give me permission to spend it, but I want your permission. I'm asking because you all need to make a decision.
okay, I get that, I do. I'm just trying to understand, right? I don't even know what you're really asking me for real. What are you asking?
What do you need from Ms. Dukestein, and questions that are not answered for you out there? You may not have any. You may have your decision already made. But if you are sitting at this table and you have not made a decision one way or another, what questions do you need answered in order for you to make a decision?
Make a decision about what?
Whichever way you
Tear down
want.
our-
If you want to tear down,
We're
if
talking
you wanna-
about the building?
yes, ma'am.
Okay. I have a decision already, so I don't need another.
Okay, then
I don't
should,
need nothing else.
so, Mr. Davis, are there questions that you need answered in order for you to make an informed decision on either way that you are leaning?
Yeah. Hey, am I permitted to speak in this? Cause
I am giving you permission to speak, because
Okay.
you are all, I told you guys at the beginning, all council are welcome guests at Budget and Finance, so we can be sure that everybody's informed.
So, I vote. We voted for remodel. There was a vote to do a remodel. I believe that was September, October.
We've never voted to
We didn't
remodel.
vote, but he made the motion for her to, or, I'm sorry, for
Ms.
the
Chamberlain in my seat.
the
Yes.
last administrator to
Yes,
do. So I just want to make sure so that when we,
because the bill failed.
I want to make sure if
bill
you
that
have
says
not made a decision at
the
this
remodel.
point, you should have. And if you have not made a decision at this point, what questions do you need answered in order to make a decision? We've done this too long. This building
It's only going to get
needs
worse.
a decision. Yes.
Just keep going down the road.
So do you need?
He said he already had
have
his
any
decision.
questions? You already made a decision. You don't have to say your
Yeah,
decision
he said he
now.
already had a
Just
decision.
do
He
you
said he
need
didn't
to
even
make
I can send an email of my I've already online as supporting a remodel, but there are questions I have. There are questions that I have that I'll send via email.
Perfect. Okay. I just want to make sure that you guys are clear that we need to make a decision. And if you have the questions, now is the time so that when it comes back, everyone is clear and understanding and alignment of what needs to be done.
Honestly, I thought that's what we did with the September motion.
The September motion, Ms. Dukestein, can you explain again? The September motion only gave. So I think as a council, what we need to do is take it back, I'm sorry, as a committee, what we need to do is take it back to council, correct me if these are the correct steps, make a motion, vote on it. So if the motion passes,
You
move
can-
forward, whatever.
I think if you guys need more support, you can email me with the support. If you don't need any more support, then you guys need to get a piece of legislation going, and you need to just send it to council floor and let it be voted out.
I don't need any more support. Just want to make sure all my council members, or if we're going to move legislation,
Yes,
then
I've
that's
made my
what.
decision.
yeah, me too.
So then I want to know, okay, then so we'll take it out of Budget and Finance Committee and put it on legislation.
Oh, did we
what?
go down
No,
here?
we haven't.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's
Yes,
okay.
I'm
No,
so sorry.
come on. No, look, I was gonna look. I was
You're right. I'm so sorry. I'm tired, you
I was gonna
guys.
pass the baton.
Ms. Gaston, what questions do you need to have answered to make an informed decision so that Ms.
So-
Dukestein can come to the table?
I'm not trying to pull the new card,
No.
but I'm new, okay? Newer. And one thing that stuck out to me was what Mr. Brooks said. What do we want to be when we grow up? Okay? So I have several questions that don't need to be answered today. I just want you to know where my head is, okay?
Right.
Number one, the building has great bones. But will that building be able to support technology in 2040, 2045? So on and so forth, okay? Is there anything in writing that says that the bones are good so that we can say, this is a good building, it will support this stuff, so on and so forth?
Can I make a comment to that? You were saying
Just let her finish, and I
2045.
can make sure I send back the documents.
Okay,
Right.
go ahead.
Thank you. And so, okay, so the next thing is, ultimately, what does the city of North College Hill want to see done with this building? And whatever it is that the citizens want, because we're all taxpayers, all of us, we need to make sure that we weigh that into our decision as well and see how much all of this stuff is going to cost to remodel or whatever it is that we decide on and just move forward. So I am confident that Ms. Dukestein and I will speak, and any further questions that I have, she will answer them. But those are my questions. What are we going to look like when my grandchildren come back to North College Hill?
So
Give
I
us
will
something to look
I
like.
will say this. the building can be, if we only go to a certain point where we at least restore it, there can be a concession plan to do further.
That's why
Right now, in terms of what the citizens want, I'm not trying to ignore that, but you all have the purse strings. If we tear that building down or don't come up with another plan, then it's getting worse and it's going to cost us more. Unfortunately, sometimes you have to make decisions in a pickle. And the fact that half the roof was replaced and half of it wasn't have now put us in an environmental pickle. So we have to figure something out. Sitting in a delayed space is not helping tax dollars be allocated in the best way. No matter what you decide, if you're tearing it down, you are literally getting over $1 million loan to tear it down, and then we're paying on a loan with nothing else but the land. So if the citizens want to tear it down, they're agreeing to $1 million bill with nothing to replace it.
I look at it like this. We're in an Airbnb. We're renting this space. 2024 or 2045 is a future plan. We need a plan today. We need a plan right now that's going to get us back to where we need to be. And then we could start looking at a loan, or we can
That's why we need
we
the
could look at
comprehensive plan
future
done.
development. But right now, we need to,
Get out this building.
yes, we need to give this building back to the seniors and get back to the community. We need to get back to business in our own home. And then when you outgrow a home,
You move.
you make plans to grow. You make plans then to say, what does that look like 20 years from now? But we need to move today to something. I'm sorry, Ms. Zorb, your
Get
thoughts?
the floor now? Okay. All right. So I am astonished that anyone up here can say they've made a decision because you have no numbers to back it up. So I'm flabbergasted that we have the purse strings and yet no one has any numbers. So
We had-
that's,
Ms.
we
Zorb,
don't.
We had
don't.
numbers
We
prior,
don't.
before I was even on council, we had
Can I
numbers.
go through my list of questions?
Yes, ma'am, but
So,
I was just
thank
trying to
you.
address them
All right.
one by one. So go ahead.
These can't be addressed one by one. So I would like to know how much the asbestos remediation costs. Now, I know we have one quote, and that's all I've ever seen, and that was for the RWB that you put on the document. And it wasn't for the amount that was on that document, so that's why I'm really confused. So I would like to know how much the asbestos remediation costs, how much it would cost to tear it down, what, if it stays up and we fix it, how much would it cost to stay up and fix it? What would it be used for? What revenue would we get from that usage? How many staff members would it take to support those programs that I'm suspecting that we want to put in there? And what would their estimated salaries be? And then how are we going to pay for it? Are we planning on getting a loan to pay for that? And also, I'd like to point out, I know you keep saying that there's good bones, but I drove by it a couple weeks ago, and the bricks on the east side exterior are now all peeling. So those would all have to be repointed too.
Good bones
Ms.
means structure, foundational structure,
Yeah,
not
it's not out
bricks.
of No,
No.
that's
That
not
wall
the
is
same.
The wall is a structure.
Yes, the wall is a structure, but
That-
what
in-
she's saying is
in terms
internal.
of constructional terms, I'm not talking about things that can easily be replaced, like a brick clearing. I'm talking about the structure that allows the bricks to be adhered to that structure.
Okay.
Those are
Ms.
two different
Ms.
things.
My whole
Zorb,
point
hold
is-
on, Ms. Zorb, you don't have the floor. Ms. Zorb,
I
I
did have the
think,
floor.
but she answered, now he's coming back. Ms. Zorb, well, let's be transparent. I think it's funny that you're sitting up here and you're talking about costs, but when a roof costs $200,000 to $300,000 to fix in the beginning, we only fixed half. And I think
No,
it's
we
right.
replaced-
I'm not finished.
But you're
I am
speaking
not
incorrectly.
finished. Like, you told me to let you finish, so I would ask for the same for you. Now, the quote, you know that tear down a building and to build a building is going to take more funds than it would for someone to renovate a building in a space. That's,
I
You
don't
sat for
disagree.
chair on Budget and Finance Committee, so you understand and you know this.
I
So
don't
for you to
disagree.
say you don't have the numbers, you've been on council since how long?
Point of relevance.
And I was a citizen, and I understand the numbers, and I hear and I'm listening to what they've said in past meetings. They said in past meetings, I think it was 20, you correct me if I'm wrong, 2023, 3 million in 3 phases. 1 million, 3 million, was it 3 million on the first phase, get us back in the building, or was it 1 million the phase? 1 million will get us back in the phase, to get us back into the building where we can be conducting business. And then, or you would rather take that million and tear it down, and then we still are here.
With no building to go to.
It just doesn't add up.
I don't think I said I had a decision. I said I needed money dollars. I need dollar amounts to make my decision. And I do want to correct you. So we spent money to replace the roof on one half and repair the roof on the other half.
So let me
That's
ask,
what we
let
spent
me
money
ask
on.
the question, if
And it
your
was a
house needs a
7-year
roof,
loan.
would you only repair the right side of the roof and not the left?
We weren't using the other half.
Madam Chair.
Madam Chair and Mr. Wilson, I respect you guys. I love you guys. I really do. But the debate and the back and forth, I am starving. It is 9:30 or 9:26. We can agree to disagree.
Absolutely.
Okay, and we'll get there, but going back and forth like this is like extremely counterproductive. I think that Ms. Zorb makes a really good point, but honestly, I gave up on seeing any numbers for any of that stuff. I still
So
have
then
a
if that's
decision.
the question, we
Okay.
need to ask Ms. Dusting, can we get some numbers?
So
that-
I don't have any
Madam Chair.
problem providing numbers, but what I will say is it relates to the questions that, and this is my last thing, the tear down, the repairs, the usage, the revenues, the salaries, the costs, as though that makes an impact of the decision right now. You're faced with more than just the salaries, the costs, and the usage and the revenue associated with the building. You have got to figure out something right now. The building is getting worse.
Yeah, it's going to cost us more
And so
money.
either you need to tear it down and chalk up the cost, and I'm not frustrated because you're asking. I'm saying regardless of what the cost is, regardless of what the salaries are, we're not trying to put the revenue in the building right now. We're trying to at least restore it so that we are not in a space where we have to tear it down and eat that cost as a whole. That's $1 million out of our budget that we don't get back with no return. To me, that is a huge thing. And you can get quotes all day long to tear that building down and not rehab it. And you're still going to get the same thing. You have a demolished building with nothing in return. And I can guarantee you, price the cost property of that land, you are not going to get your money back. So I'm merely saying, but I'm happy to provide the numbers, but in terms of the usage and the revenue and the salaries and the cost and what it's going to be, we're not even there yet. If that's what you want to do down the road, fine. But those numbers should not be considered as a right now decision.
If everybody has spoken, I'm sorry.
Can I say something, please?
Yes, sir.
As an outsider on this, everybody in the community is watching.
Yes, yes,
People who work here are watching.
yes.
For God's sake, I work in a building that we just discovered has more asbestos in it, and we have to have it removed, that is from 1931. My women's locker room does not meet federal standards for Title IX or whatever you want to call it. Okay? Our building was not designed for a police department. Okay? We bring in dangerous drugs that can kill you that are, just, and we have no filtration system to protect us. We've kicked all this stuff down the road too far, folks. We need, I get it. I understand Mary Jo's things, but, we also needed a roof on the fire department, and people were talking about putting tarps on it, and we were talking about not doing stuff in the police department. We have to make tough decisions with the money we have, and we need to stretch the money.
Lord, Jesus.
I saved $30,000 out of the police budget until the end of the year, and have bought new desks, put in new flooring in an office, painted stuff. We gutted where the officers spent most of their time in doing all their reports for 30 grand. Why? Because I know I can't compete with Sharonville that has a $7 million police station, and when they put their uniforms and bags at the end of their shift, that's in a locker room that recycles the air so their stuff's fresh. I can't compete with that. But I have to do what I can to make it at least a little more appealing for the people that we have and for those guys and girls that are here every day. And I know the fire department has done the same thing. They're in a building that's just as old. So we got to stop fighting amongst each other and come together and, like, let's make decisions. I've talked to Miss Arrayas about, like, plans, what we can do for the building. We've got a gym. We can make that into a recreation building. There's a whole classroom next there that we can make that a training room. We could move the police department to the back side where there's 8 classrooms. There's so much capability in that building. We need to have the foresight. All of us, we're all in this together. I've said from day one when I was put in this position and when I was in the interview panel with her and other people that I don't live here, but I'm vested here. I spend 50, 60 hours a week here, so it's my second home. I want it to be perfect. So let's come together and stop this fighting, please. The citizens need it. They're asking for that.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
No, I think
no,
that is a
listen.
great place to end
bruh,
the meeting.
You took the words right out of my mouth.
All
Might
right.
be the second time I've ever agreed with you.
At 9:32, let's adjourn the Budget and Finance Committee meeting.